hello, and happy Saturday afternoon to all of you out there, wherever you are, and whenever you may be watching. Today's WKMC TV broadcast is sponsored by Tower of Pizza and is a District 4 Class 2A quarterfinal matchup between the 6-seeded Wyalusing Valley Rams and the 3-seeded Mount Carmel area Red Tornadoes. Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Jim Lesko. Alongside me is my brother Dan. Jose Gonzalo supports us from the sideline, and as always, we are coming to you live from Jazz Diminick Field at the Silver Bowl in Mount Carmel, Pennsylvania. Now, Dan, let's address the elephant in the room right away. It is not Friday night.
No, it is not.
It is Saturday afternoon, as has kind of happened a little bit over the last few years as the Red Tornadoes take the field here. So it's got a little bit of a different vibe, and there's a lot to talk about on the field. But, Dan, before we get into that, I wanted to ask you a little bit about preparation. We talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
Athletes are largely creatures of habit, and all those kind of have gone out the window today.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot of adjustment that you have to make. You go from, as we kind of talked about before the game, supper club Thursday night, church Friday morning. You have, you go to school Friday, whether it's an early dismissal or a full day, either way, you're always prepared to play 7 p.m. Friday night under the lights. No matter whether it's a home game, away game, whatever it is, you're always prepared for that. Now, you go home from school on Friday, and you just go home.
Right.
Or you go, you have your practice, you kind of do your pregame, and I think that's something that, you probably see here from Coach Dara. Normally you do pregame Thursday. We'll do pregame Friday. Be prepared in that aspect. But, waking up early in the morning and getting yourself ready to play, at a 2 p.m. game on a Saturday is so much different. But I think, as you mentioned, it's kind of happened a few times over the last few years. I think Coach Dara does a really good job of kind of preparing these guys for this situation.
And while, again, the Red Tornadoes no doubt planned for this all week and made adjustments and made changes, the time of game and the day of the game, I should say, are not the only changes that we're going to see this week for the Red Tornadoes.
Right.
So you're going to see right off the bat here for the coin toss, right? The Red Tornadoes have typically run with the 3 captains and a game captain. This matchup here, we're going to have 4 new captains for the Red Tornadoes. It's going to be Chase Belichick, Andrew Lukoski, John Morganti, and Al Bailey are going to be out there. But perhaps more noteworthy is who's not going to be out there tonight, Dan, and that's number 24, Luke Blessing.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit last week. We kind of touched on later on in the game. We saw Blessing, go down with what looked like to be a lower body injury. And he's getting the night off tonight, or again tonight. He's getting the day off today to rest. So I think we're going to see a lot more Cooper Karicki in the Red Tornado backfield, and we're going to see we might see Spears put the ball in the air a little bit more. But we've talked about it all year long, the depth in the skill positions for this Red Tornadoes team. I think we're going to see it shown here this week, especially when you have your leading rusher, the guy that's accounted for 22 total touchdowns this year, on the sideline. I don't think you're going to see the offense kind of miss a beat today. So I'm going to be saying it all day.
Well, we're going to get to see that offense first, as the Red Tornadoes won the toss and elected to receive. On the Wyalusing side, two captains for the Rams, number 56, Dante Hatton, and number 7, Casey God. But we'll see that Wyalusing defense first, and as Dan pointed out, we'll see that Red Tornado offense with some changes here early on. Now, one change we'll see over the last few weeks especially is Blessing has handled the vast majority of the kickoff duties.
Yes.
Now, again, we've seen Karicki and Shoppy both handle it at various times throughout the season. I'm looking out there. I don't see Shoppy out there right now, so I would expect number 9.
It's because we're receiving the kickoff, Jim.
It's Saturday afternoon. That's exactly why.
It is, and that's all right. But one thing that we have gotten used to seeing, and what it looks like we're going to see again, is number 10, Xavier Diaz, and number 4, Michael Kimsel back deep for the kick returns for the Red Tornadoes.
56 Hatton will kick off for the Rams. And we're underway here at the Silver Bowl. They're going to start with the onside kick, and it's going to be, ooh, the Rams had a couple shots at it.
I think that's going to be Rams football, Jim.
And it is. The signal immediately is Rams football. So right off the bat, the Rams show a little bit of magic.
Yeah,
and it'll be 1st and 10 Wyalusing.
And Jim, that was set up perfectly by the Rams, you know, and credit to the Red Tornadoes front line. They didn't bail out of there, but that was just so well set up that the Rams beat the kick down past the 50-yard line, and then kind of, you know, in the scuffle there getting the ball, they batted it backwards for another Ram to make the recovery. So we're going to see this Rams offense first.
And they kind of run this offset I formation. Parker Petlock will hand it to the up man, and that's Casey God, and God will have a first down inside the 40. So a good start for that Ram offense.
Yeah, and the Rams, you know, seizing all the momentum here. The first 2 plays of the game, recovering the onside kick, and then getting, you know, a big first down carry there from Casey God. And you're right, it's a power backfield, but the power is the deep backfield, not the short backfield there.
And now it's a pitch to Hunsinger off the right side, and he'll get to around the 35-yard line. Pick up a 4.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on the Red Tornado defense here. You know, we've talked about it before. If you want to have success against this defense, a lot of times you got to run between the tackles. They move very well laterally, but if you can clear them out and, you know, kind of pick which side you can get a matchup on, you want to run the ball up the middle.
A handoff to the up man, and that is God again. Just a few yards there down to the 33.
Yeah, and that looked like Shimko and Matt Belichick, you know, combining for that tackle there. Just as quickly as this game got started, it's now a 3rd down here for the Rams.
Ball on the 33-yard line. Petlock under center. The Rams do not throw often, and they'll sweep it to Hunsinger, and he'll have a first down. He gets a good surge out across the 25, inside the 25, down to, we're going to mark it right at the 22, so a gain of about 11.
Yeah, that's a nice run there by Hunsinger, getting out, you know, just following his blockers and letting them take him down the field there.
And at least initially, the Rams look like they got off the bus pretty well, considering it's about an 83-mile ride from Wyalusing to Mount Carmel. Hunsinger right up the middle, nowhere to go, met immediately by Reed and Shimko.
Yeah, and that's what the Red Tornadoes are going to need to do. They're going to need to rely on their inside linebackers and their defensive line today to kind of just play big in the middle. You know, they're going to be competing with there's going to be a lot of action in between the tackles, and they need to be ready for it.
Now it's a sweep, and this is to Dylan Johns, and there's nowhere for Johns to go. Kimsel's going to be first on scene. And it's going to wind up being a loss of about 2 yards. It'll take him back to 3rd and 11.
Yeah, and as you mentioned on the last 3rd down, Jim, this is not really a team built for 3rd and longs. They don't really throw the ball a whole lot, and we'll see if they decide to opt to put the ball in the air here or if they keep it on the ground.
No change in formation. In addition to that offset backfield, it's a double tight. And now it's going to be a little bit of a reverse. And that's number 3, Gonzalez, and he'll be close to a first down.
Yeah, I mean, Lukoski does a good job making that play downfield a little bit there, but it's still gonna bring up a 4th down here for the Rams. And now we'll see a little bit of a change here. We'll see if they split somebody out and, you know, kind of give the option to throw for Petlock.
Oh, they'll stay tight. 4th and 4 from the 16. Parker Petlock tries the hard count. It's a short pitch, and he's not going to get the first down. The Red Tornadoes turn the Rams away, and it'll be 1st and 10 Mount Carmel somewhere around their 15. We'll have to see. It looks like they're going to say the 14-yard line.
Yeah, that's a huge stop there for the Big Red on the defensive side of the ball. You know, they kind of lose all the momentum there. You want to take the ball, hey, we're going to take the ball, we're going to score. And then the Rams come out and kick the onside and recover it. So now defense holds, makes the stop. Now we'll see what the Red Tornadoes decide to do here offensively.
And the Red Tornadoes will come out wide open as they have. 1st and 10, Spears in the gun. He's going to go straight back, and they're going to run kind of an inside screen to Diaz, but nowhere to go. The Rams read it well, and it's going to be a loss of 4.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you were looking at, Jim, there is when the Red Tornadoes go 4 wide, there's nobody in the middle of the field. I'm hoping that, you know, Coach Dara sees that and makes it a decision to kind of get the ball out there.
So now Kricky and Diaz in the backfield. Schultz split to the wide side of the field. Belichick to the short, but it's Kricky up the middle. And really nowhere to go there for Kricky, as he'll be dropped by, it's like, no, that was 33, Hunsinger.
Yeah. Now we'll see it. We're going to see the Red Tornadoes put the ball in the air here. I've got a pretty good idea of which way they're going to be looking there, probably to that 2-receiver side. You've got Diaz and Schultz out there, but you have Belichick down here in man coverage.
The Rams show blitz. Good clean pocket for Spears, and he's hit late. Just as he tried to get rid of the ball, he's hit. They rule it a fumble. Fortunately for the Red Tornadoes, they pick it up, but that was Hunsinger again.
Yeah, he was hit as he was trying to get rid of that, and he was hit clean across his chest there. And you see Spears a little, you know, kind of shaking himself off, getting up there. Good to see him up and hustling off the field. But, you know, the Red Tornadoes haven't had a whole lot of pressure. I mean, Spears has had clean pockets pretty much throughout this whole season to throw the football there. Not something that we're used to seeing.
Kricky's punt's blocked. It's going to go out of the back, and it's Hunsinger again. And it's a safety. And so with 7:04 left in the first quarter, the Rams strike first and lead 2-0.
And again, Jim, you know, we talked about it early on here that it's Saturday afternoon. This is not a Friday night football game. The Red Tornadoes might still be waking up here. Their offense looked a little stagnant there. Defense gave a little bit of ground, and now special teams, you know, with giving up a lot of pressure there, which turned into, you know, a deficit here for the Red Tornadoes to start things off, and that's not how you want to be looking at things right away here. So you're gonna have to wake themselves up here on both sides of the football.
So now as the Red Tornadoes come out for this free kick off the safety, Kricky will handle that. He'll be doing so from the 20-yard line. It looks like Johns and Gonzalez back deep, standing at the 30-yard line for the Rams. Good punt from Kricky.
Very nice punt.
And it looks like it's going to be Petlock, who took it at the 40 off the right side. And there's a Red Tornado down on the field.
And I think
that's
Morganti. Yeah, he was in on that tackle there.
So while play stopped and it gets sorted out, it will be 1st and 10 Rams, the ball right at midfield. So I want to take this opportunity again to just thank our tonight's sponsor, Tower of Pizza. We especially want to make sure we thank Joe Daukis and the Lithuanian Club, celebrating 100 years of Lithuanian heritage and MCA football support. So we thank everybody out there for all they do to help keep this broadcast what it is. So kind of a lot going on here.
Yeah.
Again, an interesting start here. I don't know that I've seen a team start a game with an onside kick all season, but certainly Worked out pretty well for the Rams.
Yeah.
They're able to drive down the field. The Red Tornadoes do turn the Rams away. But a subsequent 3-and-out leads to the blocked punt. And here we are. Red Tornadoes trail 2-0 early in this one.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's an eerie start to the game. You know, you don't like to see it. You know, we talked about prior to last week, the Red Tornadoes went 2 consecutive weeks with 28 points in the first quarter, and now we're 5 whole minutes into this first quarter, and we're down 2-0. Last week they got off to a slow start against Shamokin. It's not something like a trend that we like to see from the Red Tornadoes here.
No, and interestingly enough, when you think about last week, ultimately, what was able to kind of snap the Red Tornadoes out of the funk, and what sustained them early on, and what snapped them out of the funk, is not available tonight.
Right.
As this afternoon, as it was that young man down on the sideline, number 24, Mr. Blessing.
Yeah.
So you will need to look for other avenues here to kind of provide that support today.
Yeah, and I mean, we've talked about it in the past. It's so early in this game yet, and there are so many playmakers on both sides of the football here for this Red Tornadoes team. So it's really something that it's less of a will it happen and more of a who's going to be the spark. It's one of those situations where you just, who is Coach Dara going to go to, on the offensive side? Who is going to step up on the defensive side of the ball and make the big play to kind of shift this momentum?
And as we kind of move into, again, we're in the district playoff round here, the quarterfinal round, District 4 Class 2A. We were keeping an eye on, or at least I was keeping an eye on some other things kind of that went on throughout the state so far last night. And it is interesting because a lot of your playoff life depends on how many schools are in your district, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting. So if you look across the state of Pennsylvania, there's a few teams that are pretty highly ranked in AA.
Yeah.
And thought of pretty well. Westinghouse, right, who was in the state title game last year with Southern. Farrell's there year in, year out. Central Clarion is up there too. They'll actually have buys this week.
Wow.
So they're just the way that their district brackets are set up.
Yeah.
But out in District 6, Bald Eagle area and Richland, again, both kind of ranked top 10 in the state. They were both victorious last night for their districts. North Schuylkill had a big win last week out in last night. Actually, Thursday. Let me check myself. North Schuylkill played Thursday. They beat Tamaqua, so now they get a matchup with number 2 seed Palmerton next week. They lost 48-24 to Palmerton a few weeks back. I think it was that Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
That was kind of a funky night for a lot of places. But then across, if we stay in AA, again, the really only AA District 4 contest that transpired so far was our friends down the way in Line Mountain. Were able to get a victory over Towanda. So they await the winner of Troy and Hughesville, which we'd expect based on past experience and kind of Troy being the 10-0 1 seed in the district. The likelihood is Line Mountain will be making that way up toward is that Trout Run Road and Fishers Run. And I think maybe what might make the most sense here is as we kind of continue to work on what's going on in the field is we're going to step away just for a minute. And we'll be back kind of as soon as everything is addressed on the field and we're ready to get back to football. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a minute with the rest of this quarterfinal matchup. Hey, welcome back to the Silver Bowl, this District 4 quarterfinal matchup. We're 5 minutes in here. It's 2-0 Wyalusing over the Red Tornadoes on account of a blocked punt that went out the back of the end zone. The Red Tornadoes had an injury to number 30, John Morganti, and he is being tended to and is taken off the field. So we're ready to get back into play here. The injury occurred on the free kick after the safety, so it is 1st and 10 Rams at their own 48-yard line. Their second drive of 2 to start right around midfield. Handoff.
I think that was
off
Hunsinger.
the right side. Number 33, Hunsinger. A gain of maybe 2.
Yeah, nice play there by the Red Tornado defensive front. Looked like Schultz was the first man on scene there to get to Hunsinger, but was helped out by a host of Red Tornadoes there to bring him down.
Petlock, and now they'll sweep it, and this will be Johns to the left side. He's going to try to get the corner, and he has it. He gets a good block, runs through some arm tackles, still on his feet, all the way down to the 31-yard line. So a gain of about 19 for number 9, Dylan Johns.
Yeah, you don't see that happen too frequently, a team actually able to get the edge there against the Red Tornadoes, but they did a really good job of kind of pinching down and getting some blockers out in front of Johns and turned it into a really nice gain.
Johns had 2 touchdowns last week in a big rivalry matchup win for the Rams, and they'll try to give it to the up man. Tried to give it to God. He was met immediately at the line of scrimmage and pushed backwards. The ball did come out. Forward progress may have been stopped, but it didn't matter anyway because Johns was able to get back on it.
Yeah, the only thing realistically, the forward progress, the whistle saved was about 3 or 4 yards there for the Rams.
So it'll be 2nd and 11 now, 5.5 remaining in the first quarter. Ball on the 32-yard line. It's that short pitch to the right side. Hunsinger is going to go inside. Going to be tripped up by Ben Miller. Get to around the 29-yard line. Yeah,
it's a nice gain there from Hunsinger. It looks like the Red Tornadoes are really flowing well to the ball, but Hunsinger seems to have a good feel for kind of where that crease is going to be. It looks like more of a 5-hole and a 6-hole sweep that they're going rather than an outside sweep.
So on 3rd down, they'll sweep. Same concept. They just bring Johns to the left. It'll be number 2, Matt Belichick, get up off the bottom of the pile down to the 26. He's going to bring up 4th and about 5.
Yeah, now we saw Gonzalez check back into the game here, who's usually at one of those tight end spots, I think, and that's where we're going to see him at.
But they'll stay tight. And Petlock under center. And now he's going to roll out. He's going to look to throw. Nowhere to go. He just unloads it. Incomplete. And it'll be turnover on downs. Petlock's had to peel himself up off the turf.
Yeah, and that's the downside for a team that really is not apt to put the ball in the air, is when you get in a position where you do it just to kind of change the pace, or you're just put in a position where you have to put the ball in the air. Not always set up well to do that. So the Red Tornadoes, they apply a lot of pressure in those situations, and that time it worked out for them.
We see a quick adjustment here by the Red Tornadoes. They'll go back to the shotgun double wing. It's going to be right up the middle. It's Bailey. Bailey's in space. He's at the 50, the 40, the 20, the 10, and he's in. He tiptoed down the line. He's in. The acrobatics from the big Al Bailey, tonight's captain. 74 yards, and it's 6-2.
And Jim, you talk about the change of pace there. Talk about the change of the momentum in this game. You give the quick. You go from wide on your first drive. You bring things back to the old bread and butter, the shotgun double wing, and you hit Bailey as the up back with that quick snap. He had a little trouble with it initially, but once he broke out into the open field, showed that he's not only out there to block or you know, catch some passes every now and again. He's got some wheels, Jim.
Shoppy's kick is up and good. And it's 7-2 here at the Silver Bowl.
And Jim, you know, I mentioned it before we went to the break there, just, you know, it wasn't a matter of when it was going to happen. It was a matter of who. But I have to be honest with you. Didn't anticipate it being Al Bailey. You know, the fullback, he's in there. He's in there usually lead blocking for one of those, one of the leading rushers, you know, Karicki or Diaz or somebody. You know, we've seen him catch a few passes out of the backfield. He's had a lot of success over the past few weeks with that quick snap. And this time he was able to break out in the open field and turn it into 6 points. I mean, what a great run and a great spark there. I think just what the Red Tornadoes needed. And
I give Al Bailey all the credit in the world on that one, because it certainly looked like around the 25-30 yard line that the Rams had an angle.
Yeah, it did.
And even with the angle, they couldn't get there until about the 3 yard line, and Bailey did a great job of avoiding the tackle and staying in bounds.
He did. He did. He earned every yard of that touchdown there. It was a great run there by Bailey. And in a huge spot, too. You know what I mean? First, you know, district playoff game, getting the carry there to start things off.
Karicki's kick.
Ooh, big
is
hit.
Returned and stuck right around the 30 yard line. So the question I started asking about 25 minutes ago of who's going to kick off for the Red Tornadoes is answered by number 9, and it's returned to the 31.
Yeah, that's a great job there. I think that was Cooper Karicki and Tate Adams. Both were around the football along with Keegan Brown. I think it was Adams that made the tackle, but did a great job of getting down there and not really allowing any of a return there for the Rams to get started.
Now the Rams aren't really going to change what they do. This will be Dylan Johns off the left side and do a nice job kind of cutting inside and getting out across the 35 to the 36.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it at length throughout this whole year, the speed laterally of this Red Tornado defense. And the best way to combat that is you kind of get everybody flowing one way, and then you try to cut back across the grain. And that's what it looks like the Rams are trying to do.
And Petlock, this is a true QB kind of boot where he's going to keep it into a sweep almost. But the Red Tornadoes do a nice job there of bottling it up. We'll have to see where forward progress is, but he didn't get a whole lot. It's like maybe a yard.
Yeah. Yeah, really good job over there on the left side. Red Tornadoes, again, that's that lateral quickness. And there, I mean, you had 3 blockers out in front of Petlock, and they were able to fight over top and fight through and keep that to a short, very short Rams gain.
So now it'll be 3rd and 3. And Petlock's going to throw. He's going to let it out there. It's a good ball, and it's intercepted by Lukoski. So the second game captain has a big start here. And he's going to get a big return, but there's flags all over the field. Lukoski's still on his feet.
Yeah, some blocks in the back there, I think, on the return. Going to bring this one back, but I mean, Petlock took a shot as he was releasing that football. And great play by Lukoski. It looked like he almost tipped it to himself and then put on a nice return. But it's going to be coming back, but that's after the turnover. So either way, it's going to be Red Tornado football. It's just going to be where they're going to have the ball at.
It's like they're going to walk this off from the 45. Again, illegal block in the back. Kind of as expected. It happened in front of just about everybody.
Yeah.
But again, to Dan's point, nevertheless, all part of the return. Still Red Tornado football. So we're going to walk this off. Where'd they? I lost them. They're going to walk it off from the
44.
Okay. All right, the official stopped before at the 34, so I was a little thrown off. All right, yep. They'll walk it off from the 45, so it'll be 1st and 10 Red Tornadoes at their own 35-yard line.
Yeah, and just like that, I mean, the Red Tornadoes, they get their score to take the lead, and then they get their turnover. So now we'll see the offense here, if they can keep things moving in the right direction, keep it humming here.
And this time it'll be Diaz. And there's another man you don't want to see in space.
No.
He'll get across midfield to the 46-yard line for a Red Tornado 1st down.
Yeah, I mean, credit to the Rams defense, because, you know, Diaz, he's always kind of hopping around there in the middle, but looking for his way out, looking for his way to the sideline. They hemmed him in enough. I mean, he had a big gain of 1st down, but they hemmed him in enough for him to not get outside.
And Spears takes another big shot to that one from Hatton. Had trouble with the snap. Did a good job getting it out, but he did have to pay for it.
Yeah, and that's a lot of pressure coming through the middle there. Something the Red Tornadoes are going to want to address.
2nd and 10 now for the Red Tornadoes. They'll stay wide open here. Glitchick, the single receiver to the right side of Spears. Diaz comes in motion behind him. They're going to give it to Cooper Cricky for the second time tonight, nowhere to go for Cricky. He's going to get back to the line of scrimmage, and that's about it.
Yeah, it looked like Cricky was looking for that cutback lane, but the big player here so far for Wyalusing has been Hunsinger, and it was Hunsinger again. Cricky looked for that cutback, and he turned right into Hunsinger, so there's really nothing there for him.
3rd and 10 now, approaching a minute and a half remaining in the 1st quarter. Spears is going to roll to his right, under pressure, and he floats out. He's got Schultz, and he's wide open. And now it's going to be a foot race. You're not going to catch Schultz either. 13-2, 46 yards. Spears to Schultz. Spears' 23rd touchdown pass of the season.
Yeah, and that's a great job by Spears, sensing the pressure as he rolled out. He didn't get to roll out and set like he normally likes to do on that throwback there to Schultz, but he just trusted it. He knew where the pocket was. He got up in there, and he floated it out there. There was nobody around Schultz. An easy pitch and catch for 6 there for the Red Tornadoes to extend this lead.
Good snap, good hold, good kick. 14-2 Red Tornadoes here at the Silver Bowl in this District 4 Class 2A quarterfinal matchup.
Yeah, and I mean, again, you see this Red Tornado team is just kind of, they've kind of, every time that the Rams have appeared to have an answer, they've countered and came back, and, you know, they bounced back from the little bit of a slow start. And I mean, we're still here in this 1st quarter, and boy, how it changed, you know, from the first 5 minutes to these last 5.5, 5 minutes and 35 seconds. It's been 2 different quarters here, and the Red Tornadoes in complete control at this point.
Cricky will come out to kick off again for the Red Tornadoes. Again, it's Gonzalez and Johns back deep for the Rams.
Johns and Gonzalez back deep for the Rams.
You hear the crowd. Still a good crowd here, even for a Saturday afternoon at the Silver Bowl.
Yeah.
Ricky's kick is going to be low and a little short. It'll be picked up about the 30-yard line. Good return out to around the 38. Try to see exactly who that was.
It looked like Keegan Brown was one of the first ones there. Number 27 for the Red Tornadoes. I'm not sure who it was on the return.
15, Jonathan Earl on the return.
There you go.
Ball spot on the 39-yard line. Wyalusing takes over 1st and 10.
Petlock to the up man. It's God off the right side. It's like Schultz, Cricky. there was one more there. We'll give Schultz and Krickian. Is Widener in there too, Dan?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was Widener. But either way, I mean, a good start there for the Rams. Anytime you're running into the teeth of a defense, you're not looking to get 15, 20 yards at a clip. You're looking for 5, 6 yards, and that's what they get.
Now it's that short pitch to Hunsinger. He'll have a first down out into Red Tornado territory. He'll mark him down at the 47-yard line.
Yeah, and Hunsinger does a good job of kind of keeping his feet. It looked like there were Red Tornadoes that were down, kind of swiping at the ankles. Hunsinger just keeps that low center of gravity and keeps fighting forward for that first down.
And the Rams huddle more than the Red Tornadoes do, but they're back up on the ball pretty quick, even considering they're going into a full huddle. And it'll be God up. He's going to try to get outside, and that's a mistake, as he's not going to be able to move laterally quick enough there. The Red Tornadoes eat it up. Widener off the bottom of the pile, but there were a lot of red jerseys around, and it's going to be a loss of about 5 all the way back to the 48.
Yeah, it's a really good job there by the Red Tornado defense there. And I think that's going to be the quarter there.
So after 12 minutes of play, 14-2 Red Tornadoes. It was an interesting quarter.
Yeah, very much so. And I think, we kind of talked about it coming into today, that this is, it's a Saturday afternoon. We're playing against a team that kind of runs an offense that we're not really used to seeing.
Right.
That's that kind of offset power backfield is something that you don't see a whole lot at all anymore. I mean, especially whether it's in District 4 or just in the state at the high school level. See a lot of teams have gone to the spread. They've gone speed over power. Is a lot of the stuff that the Red Tornado or the high school football teams have gone to. But this is just a power downhill run game from Wyalusing Valley. So it's a different intricacy that the Red Tornadoes had to kind of prepare for it. It took them a little bit to kind of get their feet underneath them, but it appears that they've done so to this point now.
So to start the second quarter, it's 2nd and 15 for the Rams. And it's God again right up the middle. He does a nice job keeping his feet moving. He'll get down to the 45, a pickup of 7.
Yeah, I mean, he just keeps moving forward. He got 2 extra yards there. It looked like he was hit kind of stale at the initial line of scrimmage at the 40, the 47, and he fought forward for another 2 to get to the 45. It's a nice, tough run.
3rd and 8 now. And it's God again up the middle. He's going to bounce to the outside a little bit. A nice job staying on his feet. Get down to the 41. Bring up 4th and 4.
We've got a player down here. I'm trying to get a look here. I'm not sure if that is God because he was on the bottom of the pile.
So this will be our second stoppage tonight, this afternoon. We'll keep making that mistake as we go. But one thing, again, wanted to thank tonight's sponsor, Tower of Pizza. And just a reminder, all of you out there, this WKMC TV broadcast, again, sponsored by Tower Pizza, but WKMC TV itself is a student-run TV studio out of the Mount Carmel Area School District under the guidance and direction of Mr. Steve Sakaitis and Mr. Gary Trefsker. So all the sights and sounds that you hear are courtesy of MCA students. It'll be 4th and 4 here when we get back started. But Dan, one thing, as it does look like it is God. It is Casey God. Yeah. As he sat up, you could see a jersey number. But we were kind of talking a little bit earlier about some of the things going on around the state and district playoffs. Then we focused, of course, on Class 2A.
Yeah.
That's what's most important, for the Red Tornadoes and their season. But there were a couple other just kind of worth mentioning, I think, out of District 4 as God is up. So Danville in AAA. They're the 1 seed, District 4. They defeated Athens last night, and they'll face either Lewisburg or Montoursville.
Okay.
That'll be who are playing tonight. In the 2 seed in AAA, Wyalusing. Again, another familiar foe for the Red Tornadoes, team we've encountered a few times over the last couple seasons, and Wyalusing certainly matched up with a few of the Red Tornadoes' opponents this year.
Yeah.
They defeated Coanesque Valley last night, so they're going to face Warrior Run, who's also victorious. And then tonight in District 4 Class 4A, Selinsgrove and Shikellamy are matching up along with Jersey Shore and Milton. And all that's happening tonight. But today, it's a turnover on downs.
Yes.
Here at the Silver Bowl. Looked like that was Hunsinger, and he was met by Karicki.
Yeah, and it's a great job by Karicki, because you saw Hunsinger. He knew he only needed 3 or 4 yards. He got a head of steam going, and he kind of put his shoulder down. But he ran into Max Karicki, and that's not the guy you want to run into if you're trying to keep your momentum going there. So good job by the Red Tornado defense. Max Karicki made a nice play there to get that ball back for the Red Tornado offense.
So they'll take over 1st and 10 at their own 38-yard line, right at the 11-minute mark here in the second quarter. Spears is in the shotgun with Diaz and Karicki split behind him. It'll be Diaz. Nowhere to go on that one. A nice play by, I think that's big number 77, Nick. I believe that's Nick Johnson.
Yeah, Jim, I feel like, for the Red Tornadoes, that's what you lose not having Blessing. Diaz is more of the outside speed guy. You lose that kind of in-between tackle rusher, because Karicki has a lot of speed. He just doesn't have the size of Blessing. He has the ability to run between the tackles, but Blessing kind of, 10 weeks into the season, had a good feel for it.
Spears' pass falls incomplete, looking for Bailey.
Incomplete pass, it'll be 3rd and 10.
And it's the Red Tornadoes offense. They've been finding ways to score, but they still look like they're kind of just getting into the groove of things here. It seems like they're a little off balance offensively here.
It's 3rd and 10. 4 wide for Spears. He's going to throw a quick slant to Diaz, and it's just a little outside of his frame there. It'll fall incomplete, and we'll see Karicki come on to punt.
Or will you? All right, yeah, we will.
Looks like the Rams are going to send Gonzalez, and is that Johns and Petlock back?
Yeah.
Crickio's second punt attempt of the night. Again, first one blocked, turned into the safety. The only 2 points for the Rams so far. It's a nice kick in the direction of Petlock. He'll take it at the 26. And Schultz and Miller are going to finish him off.
Yeah, that's a great job there by Schultz. Schultz was first man on scene. He grabbed a hold of Petlock, and he did not let him go. I mean, they wrestled for about 10 yards before Schultz got him to the ground.
When it looked like for a second, Petlock had an alley.
Yeah.
They had a return set up, and there was a little bit of space there, but Schultz really closed that down quickly.
Yes, he did.
So now we'll see here again. Wyalusing is not going to dress up what they do very much. They're okay with you knowing what's coming. They're just going to dare you to stop it. This will be Johns to the left side, and he's going to be up, and he's still on his feet. A great run by number 9, Dylan Johns, for a first down out to the 49.
And Jim, it seems like the Rams' offensive front, who I'd have to take a better look at it. I always get caught up kind of following the football, but I want to see who it is that they have getting out in front of these short sweeps that they're running, because they do a good job of finding the linebackers and getting hats on hats.
It's Johns again off the left side. And he'll get down near the 45. We'll see. It's like they'll say the 46, so it'll be a gain of about 5.
And Another nice run. I mean, you're right. They don't really dress it up, and they don't have to. I mean, the Red Tornadoes are stepping up when they need to defensively, but they're getting 4 or 5 yards at a clip when they early on in these downs.
And again, another first down. This time it's Hunsinger. And it's worth pointing out with Casey Gott on the sideline, number 38, Ethan Vanderpool is one of those is the up man.
Okay.
Well, I think, Dan, what it is, you get so used to in the run game, especially when you're kind of moving side to side, there's a guard that pulls.
Yeah.
But really, they're throwing the sweep. If they're moving to the right, they're throwing the sweep to the running back to the left, and the fullback and the forward runner are just barreling through. They've got 2 lead blockers going through the whole first.
Yeah, it makes your reads, as an inside linebacker, going back to Coach Carm's days, there are clear reads and there's cloudy reads. And these are some very cloudy reads that our inside linebackers are getting because you never really know who's going where. They're pulling opposite, pulling to the play side. They kind of shuffle things around, and I think that's, even though their offense looks very simple, those are the little intricacies that make it successful.
Petlock tried the hard count, no luck. It'll be Hunsinger right up the middle, and he's going to get thrown back, but forward progress is going to have another gain of 3 or 4. Say down to about the 33-yard line.
Yeah, really, which brings up just another 3rd and manageable. And now here we see the Red Tornadoes kind of preparing for a 3rd and short, bringing in the extra beef on the defensive line.
Lamas is right over that center, and Shimko and Erb are left and right of it. But a great run, a strong run by Hunsinger, and it's going to be another Rams first down.
Yeah, and Hunsinger just kind of bounced off tackles. The Red Tornadoes had 5 down defensive linemen on that play, and Hunsinger just found the smallest crease and spun forward and turned it into a first down.
3rd first down of this drive for the Rams. 7-10 and counting here in the first half. The Red Tornadoes lead 14-2. And they try to give it to the up man, but Bumps, 55, Logan Erb, saw that coming and grabbed him before he could get moving.
Yeah, Bumps did a really good job there, just kind of fighting off his blocker and getting on the back of the runner there, making a nice stop.
Ball right at the 25 now. There's that sweep. This time it's Johns, and Johns is going to be inside the 20. There's a late flag that comes in.
And
the ball for the moment is at the 19. It looks like they're indicating face mask against the Red Tornadoes.
yeah, whether it's 5 or 15, it'll be enough for another Rams first down.
Face mask penalty indicated against the Red Tornadoes.
Down to the 14-yard line. And a 1st and 10.
Yeah, and again, I mean, the Rams just kind of, no frills about it, just moving the ball 3 yards in a cloud of dust. This is an old-fashioned offense that they're running here.
Drive started back on the Rams' 34-yard line. And that's Hunsinger again, and he's inside the 10.
And just another really good run there by Hunsinger, just finding the creases and keeping a low center of gravity and working his way forward. He keeps his shoulders low, and behind that, those couple of lead blockers and the linemen, you kind of lose them in the wash there.
Petlock tries that hard count. The Red Tornadoes don't bite, not being particularly aggressive. Johns down to the 5.
This would be a 3rd and very short here for the Rams, it looks like. And we see that substitution package again. You bring out the corners and you bring in two extra defensive linemen. So again, now you're going to have 5 down defensive linemen for the Red Tornadoes.
It's like Widener, Delaney, Erb, Shimko, and Karicki. And they'll give it to God, who's back in there, and he's not going to have the first down. He's going to bring up 4th down. And Dan, we've seen this Red Tornado defense bend but not break quite a bit this season.
Yeah, they step up when they need to, and that time it was bumps again coming off of that nose. I think he was right over. He might have shifted, or no, I think he's right over the nose there, and he just beat his guy and got God in the backfield there.
This will be the 12th play of the drive for the Rams. Taking almost 6 minutes off the clock here. Will it be all for naught? No, it'll be all for 6 as Dylan Johns is in. And it's 14-8, Red Tornadoes lead. But the Rams PAT is pending.
Yeah, and I don't see a PAT team heading out there, Jim. It looks like the Rams are going to go for 2.
And they get up there quick. The Red Tornadoes are not ready. They're going to get a flag. So it's going to go from the 2 to the 1.
I think they got the timeout in time, Jim. We'll see if they wave it off.
There it is.
Because you saw the the linebackers in front of the refs jumping up and down, requesting that timeout.
That's a tough spot to be in if you're the Red Tornadoes. And a great job by the Rams putting that pressure on. You hate that you have to burn a timeout on a point after touchdown.
Yeah, I agree.
Just a reminder, halftime performance by the Mount Carmel area Big Red Band.
So again, we talked about it earlier briefly. Johns had a big week last week with the 2 touchdowns and, most importantly, the game-winning 2-point conversion. So Coach Rogers on the Wyalusing sideline is certainly comfortable with the packages he has in place for a 2-point play here.
Yeah, and that was the Tawanda game. That was for the bronze helmet. You know, last week Red Tornadoes were playing against Shamokin for the Cold Bucket. That was the Wyalusing's rivalry game, and they got a victory and won that bronze helmet.
It's going to be the same look. And it's going to be Hunsinger off the right side, and does he get in? No, he tried to reach the ball across the line at the end, but the officials ruled that he was down first.
Yeah.
So it'll remain 14-8 at the Silver Bowl.
Yeah, now, I mean, after that long drive for the defense, or long drive by the Rams, kept the Red Tornadoes defense out there on the field. The offense is going to be looking to respond here as they come back out. That was following, their punt. The Red Tornadoes got stopped, had to punt it back to the Rams, and then the Rams take a lot of time off the clock and eat up a lot of yards to convert and get that 6 points on the board. So the Red Tornado special teams here going to be looking to get something going here. I mean, this is only the second kickoff for the Rams so far. We know what happened on the first one. So telling those guys on that front line to be wary.
Winds up being a 12-play drive. It goes 66 yards and takes off about 5 minutes and 40 seconds. So nice job there by the Rams. They picked up 4 first downs along the way. And again, sometimes the best defense is a good offense, and anytime you can keep those guys being the Red Tornadoes off the field. But the onside kick is not as successful this time. Karicki charges it.
Yeah.
Well before 10 yards, and he'll fall on it. It'll be 1st and 10 Red Tornadoes in Ram territory at the 43-yard line.
Yeah, so I'd like to see Coach Dara kind of open things up here, put the ball in the air, and run it. Just kind of score quickly here. You want to kind of answer that long drive from the Rams and show them you're not fatigued. We're ready to come out here and put points on the board. So keep an eye on Diaz down the seam.
It'll be Schultz right away. Steps out of bounds after a few yards. Will be close to a first down. It is a first down. Okay, be down to the 33-yard line. So nice ball and nice run after the catch by Schultz. Spears the throw again. It's Diaz on the other side. And legs kind of give out underneath him a little bit there. He'll pick up 4.
Yeah, there was some miscommunication there from the officials. The official on the ball side was signaling first down. The far official was signaling second and short. And now I think they're going to have a discussion here to talk about kind of what just happened, what just transpired.
Because it either was second down and now it's first down.
Yeah, I mean,
or it was first down and now it's second down.
Right, and that's the conversation that needs to be had. I mean, that you would think that you go off of the spot of the official on the side where the play was. But obviously the chain gang is on the far side, so they went off of the official on that side.
You know, we just want to once again thank tonight's sponsors, Tower of Pizza, today's sponsor, excuse me. Again, I'll get that right at some point, but it will probably be next week. So we'll see. We're going to sort this out. Because if it's second down now, you got to move the chains back.
Yeah, I mean, and it appears that that's what they're going to do.
So you're going to have to move the chain back to about the 33.
Yeah, I think the 33 was the initial spot.
But that's like the 34, it looks like.
Well, the 34 is where the official on the chain gang side was lined up, and that would have had the Red Tornadoes short. But now that they're changing it, they got to move that to the 33. But you see he's actually instructing him to move.
Right, but I mean, they had to move it back because they had moved the chains based on the reception of Diaz. So they had the chain stuck to 29.
Right.
So we're back to the 33 now, which again is where Schultz caught the first pass. So that was a first down. Now it's after the Diaz reception, it Spears up the middle, and that'll be a first down. And so the last couple plays maybe don't matter. From a down and distance standpoint, it's 1st and 10 down at the 14.
Yeah, that's a good change of pace play there by Spears. And the Red Tornadoes now getting into a rhythm, getting on the ball quickly here. Going to try and get this one off quick.
Spears the throw across the middle. It's Diaz, and he'll take a shot, and then he'll take another one for good measure, but he hangs on to the football down to around the 7-yard line. There's a late flag.
Very late flag.
And I think this one's going to go against the Red Tornadoes just based on the way the official's standing.
Yeah.
Like he was very quick to be able to ready to walk that one off.
Yeah, but we'll see. I mean, I'm not sure.
It's a delay of game?
Yeah, so I'm not really sure. It's going to be a 5-yard penalty.
It's a dead ball.
And you know, sometimes when you get in the district playoffs, the officials want the ball ran back to them. I'm not sure if it's a play that you should be penalized for, but something to keep an eye on if that's what the issue was.
It's a quick out to Belichick, and Belichick is going to be
just short,
out of bounds, down to the 1. So it'll be 1st and goal from the 1-yard line.
But again, it seems like every time the Red Tornadoes start to kind of get into their rhythm, there's something, you know, the officials mess up where they set the chains, or there's a questionable penalty. It's kind of been slowing them down, keeping them off balance.
And Diaz is in from a yard out, and it's 20-8 with 3:11 left in the first half.
Yeah, and that's a good job there by the Red Tornadoes to kind of fight through all the, you know, the little stoppages there and keep themselves moving in the right direction. The Red Tornadoes are going to go for 2 here.
Again, Coach Dara recognizing that the extra point here makes it a 13-point game, but if you can pick up the 2, it makes it 15. And given the Rams' willingness to go for 2, picking up those extra points seems to make sense.
Yeah.
2 makes it 14, excuse me.
Yeah, all right. I was looking, I was going to check your math there, but you're the math guy.
It's going to be right up the middle to Bailey, and he'll be into the end zone for the second time tonight. 2 points this time, not 6, but nevertheless, it's 22-8 Red Tornadoes.
Yeah, and it was almost the same way there for Bailey. He kind of hit that initial slowdown, bounced out to the right side just as he did on that long touchdown run that he had, and was able to get in there for the score.
So that drive, Dan, you said it yourself, you thought it was important to have a quick drive. By my count, oh, my paper just blew away, all right. By my count, that took about a minute and 17 seconds. I think Red Tornadoes got the ball with 4:28.
Yeah, and you know, it's crazy to think about it sometimes, but realistically, that is not always a quick drive from the Red Tornado standpoint. You know, a minute and 17 seconds where we know how quickly they actually can score. So they still ran a little bit more time off the clock, I think, than they would have hoped. But the end result was the same, and it was 6 points on the board. 8 points on the board.
This time, Shop will kick off for the Red Tornadoes. It'll be more of a line drive. Be taken on the run by Gonzalez, and he's got the sideline. He'll step out of bounds, but a good return. It's like they'll say he stepped out at the 44-yard line. So with 3:06 left in the first half, it'll be 1st and 10 Rams from their own 44.
Yeah, and you don't see that happen too often against this Red Tornado kick coverage team. Is the you know, kind of give up that edge. So good job by Gonzalez. And again, the Rams seem to be a very good blocking team. They find ways to get creases for their playmakers.
So now we talked about this a little bit early on, that just given the nature of the Rams offense, one thing they have to be sure they do is that they do not fall too far behind, because it's not necessarily a big strike offense. As Petlock's gonna go down, Schultz kind of rolls out to his right and then wants to do what looks like the Red Tornadoes throwback pass a little bit.
Yeah, it did.
But Schultz, who's always the beneficiary of that throwback pass, said, "Not in my house."
You know, it looked like Petlock was trying to set up the Statue of Liberty or something there. He looked like Michael Vick back there, kind of hiding the football. You know, didn't want anybody to know if he was going to run or pass. But the Red Tornadoes kind of, you know, diagnosed it and made a great play there by Schultz.
Run the sweep to Johns, and Johns does a nice job of getting up in that initial crease, and he'll get it back to the original line of scrimmage. Nope, and give him a yard. So he's going to get to the 45, but it is Johns down on the play.
And this is tough here for the Rams. You know, this is the second time we've seen one of their running backs, you know, one of their big playmakers go down. So you hopefully he's able to get back out quickly.
So we're 2:19 left in the first half here again. The Red Tornadoes lead 22-8. If the Red Tornadoes don't put another point on the board here in the first half, that'll kind of stay right in line with their season total from an average standpoint, at least. This offense came into tonight's matchup after 10 weeks, averaging 44.4 points per game and 475 yards of offense tonight.
Yeah, those are pretty impressive numbers.
Both of which, and of course these stats are all courtesy of our good friend Jose, both of those numbers, the 44.4 points per game and the 475 yards of offense, would be records here at Mount Carmel. The current points per game record was set just last season.
Yeah,
42.6 points per game. So almost a full 2 points better than that as of this moment, which is kind of impressive. And the yardage, the yardage is very different. The yardage total leader right now is 426 yards per game in 1966. So that's almost 50 yards.
Yeah,
more.
I was going to say that's a big disparity there. I mean, we've talked about the capabilities of this offense, and it's the quick strike capability. The fact that they can score as quickly as they can. There's just so many more possessions that they have and opportunities for them to get yards.
Johns will be helped off as he walks gingerly to the sideline. Hatton needs his. There we go. All right, we got it.
Yeah.
So they signal the clock to run again. So 2:15 and counting now. It's 3rd and 8 from the 46-yard line. The Red Tornadoes have 2 timeouts in their pockets. Should Coach Dara decide he wants to at least try to set himself up for another possession.
Yeah. Can't take him with you.
Petlock to throw. They've got a screen set up, but a good job out there by Belichick, and Kimsel's going to wrap it up. But given where the flag is in the backfield, there's a roughing the passer against the Red Tornadoes.
Yeah, it looked like he signaled. I think that's the. I mean, we knew what the official meant there, but I think that's the.
It was intentional grounding.
Intentional grounding signal, yeah. But either way, I mean, that's huge. I mean, that's.
So personal foul, 15 yards against the Red Tornadoes. So that's going to take it all the way down to the 39.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge penalty.
On what was certainly going to give the Red Tornadoes the football back. Now Hunsinger, and he's going to take a shot from Miller and kind of keep moving.
Yeah.
He'll get down to the 36, we'll call it. But we're under 100 seconds left here. 95 and counting.
Yeah, and again, it does not appear that you're right. The Rams, they get in and out of their huddle quickly, but I don't see any sense of urgency really from the Rams.
God, he stepped back into one of the deep men now with some of the challenges, and we'll get a timeout here now.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, okay, that's going to be a timeout taken by the Rams. Because it looked like it was going to be an official time because God stayed down on that play. God, I think, was the injured Ram earlier on in the game, and he made it back in here.
Timeout taken by Wyalusing.
So the other piece too here that we always have to take into account, the Red Tornadoes got the football first. So while we're watching here, and perhaps the Rams are not operating as urgently or as expediently as we might expect, it could also be the idea of, hey, we're going to get the ball to start the second half. We'd really like to not have the Red Tornadoes possess the football again.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I think that's kind of, once we didn't see them really moving too quickly to get their snap off there. But I think once you get to, that play ends and you see the Rams take their timeout pretty much immediately, Coach Rogers, you realize that they're not playing to run this clock out. They are still playing for points. But I think you're right. They want to have the least amount of time as possible remaining on that clock if they are going to get some points on the board here before half.
It's tough to see God down for the Rams. Again, God was down early, spent some time on the sideline, was able to come back, try to gut it out. Hopefully he's able to bounce back here as they get him up off the field. He's going to get a little assistance here from the staff. And once we get back into play, it's going to be 3rd and 5 from the 34. 3rd and 5 from the 34. Again, 1:15 left. Red Tornadoes, not too many changes defensively. It's kind of, again, you've called that a few times tonight when the Red Tornadoes have gone from their coverage package to a more beef package. But otherwise, it's pretty consistent with what we've seen for the vast majority of the first 10 weeks of the season, with a kind of a platoon to some extent of guys in the defensive backfield, whether it's Belichick and Kimsel as the stalwarts out there. They're kind of always there.
Yeah.
But then whether it's Diaz, Delaney, Lukoski, a few different guys in and out of corner.
So I'm thinking that the Rams were not granted their timeout here. Since the clock is running, they probably went with the injury timeout, and they ran the clock.
It's Hunsinger again, and he's still on his feet.
I think
He's going to have a first down.
Yeah, he is.
So that'll stop the clock momentarily, at least.
Yeah, and you see Coach Rogers, I think, given one of these signals. Looks like they're going to run the same play there. They're going to go to Hunsinger again.
Just
Maybe
to
not.
that'll be Vanderpool, 38, and nowhere for Vanderpool to go. And now there's a timeout with 32 seconds remaining.
Yeah.
Timeout Wyalusing. That will officially be their first timeout of the half.
There you had Mr. Demansky kind of verify it there, that is Wyalusing's first time out of the half. Now, so we will see what they opt to do if they decide they're going to put the ball in the air here, approaching 30 seconds left in this half.
Well, and I think you've got 2 timeouts left. You don't have to yet.
No, you don't.
Right,
But
and I think if I'm Coach Rogers, I'm going to avoid that as best I can. You're at this point now. Again, I'd be curious to hear from Jose. We expect to be able to get in touch with Jose at the half, which is always nice to be able to do that.
Yep.
We'll certainly do our best to get our interview with Coach Dara as well, coming back from the half. But I'd be curious Wyalusing's rush numbers, because they're, from a yards per carry standpoint, it's got to be pretty decent. I mean, we're used to the Red Tornadoes' gaudy numbers of 9, 10, 12, 15 yards a carry, but
right.
the Rams are up around 5, 6 yards.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now they're going to run a little reverse. There's going to be a hold there on Schultz. A nice play by Delaney, nevertheless, who comes up and makes a good, clean tackle in open field.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't have gotten that far were it not for the hold on Schultz. The officials saw it. And they're going to walk this off 10 yards from the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and that was right in front of the official. Can't really hide that one. Now, what's the situation with that, Jim? If they're going to walk this off, place the ball, and then wind the clock, right?
Yes, sir. And there we go.
There it is.
And the Rams back up on the ball quickly. Ready for the situation. But they're going to do the same. It's Vanderpool off the left side, and Kricky's going to start that one from the back. Give him Shimko and Widener will clean it up, and the Rams will take another timeout with just under 17 seconds remaining here in the half.
Yeah, now I think in a third and 17 here, I think we'll see. I mean, we'll see what the Red Tornadoes opt to do defensively, but I would anticipate the Rams kind of going to the air now. You've got 1 timeout left, maybe 3 or 4 plays if you decide to go through the air.
I think if I'd be curious to see. I think what I'd like to see if I'm the Rams, I'm going to come up, take Dylan Johns, take one of my taller skill players, just split them out.
Yeah.
See who goes with them. If the Red Tornadoes go out in single coverage and they don't double up, then okay, I'm going to take a shot to the end zone here.
Yeah.
Because it's also, I got 1 timeout. It's 3rd and 17. So for all intents and purposes, I got 2 plays in 17 seconds.
Yeah.
I'll throw it to the end zone twice.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Now, I will acknowledge that very much goes against the Rams' offense. Right?
Yeah.
That's not
And it's
what
not
we
what they're
see.
what they're gonna do.
So the ball's back on the 33 now. They're going to sweep it. And they're going to throw it. It's looking for McMicken, and it's incomplete. That was number 15, Jonathan Earl, that they kind of tried to throw halfback pass with. Earl threw a good ball to McMick, and he was open.
Yeah.
Just a little too long.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's one of those plays where as soon as I saw the pitch, I kind of anticipated him to pull up. But again, that's going to be the last time out there for Wyalusing. Even though the clock stopped, I think they want to make sure if this ball goes back to the Red Tornadoes, it goes back with the least amount of possible time.
Well, and to your point, Dan, it's funny because I think at all levels of football, was it Thursday night? Yeah, Thursday night. I was watching the Titans.
Yeah.
And they wanted DeAndre Hopkins to throw it to Derrick Henry. And it's just, you can tell when these skill guys get the ball and they're going to throw it, they kind of turn into these short, choppy steps.
Yeah.
They're not looking as explosive. They're moving more horizontally than vertically. And you go, oh, I'm just waiting for him to kind of pull it out of his breadbasket and cock it back.
Right.
And now here we go.
This is what we thought we were going to see here. Now watch some pressure coming off the edge there from Schultz.
Yeah, this is 5 wide. Petlock's going to have to get rid of this quick. So he gets it out of his hands because Schultz was coming up untouched. He was a free rusher, essentially.
Yeah.
It'll turn the ball over as that was 4th down. So it's 1st and 10 Mount Carmel. The ball will sit at the right at the 34-yard line, and the Red Tornadoes have one play.
And we've got a very, very late flag here, so I'm not sure what we have going on. Oh, intentional grounding.
So that's
just probably the right call there.
Well, and
I don't think
curious,
he got back to the line.
Yeah, and I'm curious here at the high school level because that should go back to now where the
line of scrimmage was.
Right, they're going to have to administer that penalty. So the Red Tornadoes will pick up 10 yards out to the 44. So there was some discussion on that one. So now again, that penalty is a loss of down, so it's still Red Tornado football. And Coach Dara is going to call a timeout there to see what he wants to do to cover these last 55 yards.
Well, and you can't take them with you, you know. So, but I think, I mean, we've seen kind of the Rams pull out the stops there on their halfback pass. I'd like to see the Red Tornadoes, you know, maybe if you want to, you know, Spears has always been proficient throughout this entire year with those quick 5-yard outs, 5-yard hitches. I'd like to see Spears get one to Belichick or Schultz, and then maybe hit Diaz on a little hook and ladder.
I'm always nervous about those. Not a hook and ladder itself, but I'm always curious. And I think from Coach Dara's standpoint, I always wonder, does he have stuff he doesn't want to put on film until he absolutely has to?
Right, yeah.
But I think you're right. I would love to see, Red Tornadoes have had a lot of success with screens lately.
Yeah.
You really just get the ball to 10 in some space and say, hey, if you can make it happen, make it happen.
Right.
But if not, we're happy to go into the locker room up 2 scores. So it'll be a trips bunch set to the right. Belichick's in front of Delaney and Diaz. Cooper Kricke is to Spears' right. Schultz split out by himself to the left. And it's going to be a quick setup there. There's a lateral, although not necessarily a designed one.
Yeah.
It'll be recovered by Delaney, so there'll be no turnover, but it will be the end of the first half. So after a very eventful 24 minutes of football, the Red Tornadoes will head to the locker room leading the visiting Wyalusing Rams 22-8. We'll be back before too long with stats, Coach Dara, and the second half. Stay with us.
Joe Sabrossi, assistant drum instructor. John Jacoby, assistant to the band director. Jennifer Melnick, color guard instructor. Linda Haas, assistant color guard instructor. Bernie Steller, Kelly Lucas, Luke Derrick, Cameron Getty, music and marching instructors. We would like to thank Brett Getty, Matt Steller, the MCA School Board and Administration, and especially the MCA band parents for their continued invaluable support. The band would like to recognize the late Paul Proskamitra, legendary MCA Mounties director who wrote the brass and woodwind arrangements for portions of our show. And now, we invite you to sit back and enjoy the 2023 edition of the Mount Carmel Area High School Big Red Band.
Hello and welcome back to the Silver Bowl, where after 2 quarters in this Class 2A District 4 quarterfinal matchup, the Red Tornadoes lead the visiting Wyalusing Valley Rams 22-8. Now, we always talk to you after the half of stats that our good friend Jose provides us, but on a nice change of pace today, we have Jose here himself to talk us through them. So, Jose, how are you? What do you have for us, sir?
I'm good here, guys. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
we can hear you.
Okay, let's do this real quick. For Wyalusing, 40 rushes for 171 yards, 0 of 4 passing for 0 yards, 10 first downs. For Mount Carmel, 8 for 105 on the ground, 7 of 10 for 76 yards passing, 5 first downs. And I think, guys, one thing that we'll all agree on is this is why we play these games.
It is,
Jose. You just can't assume anything, and I just think it's great that we came here. Anybody that didn't come and missing out on a nice contest.
Yeah, and it's great, Jose. You're absolutely right. And the one guy that can tell us all about that especially is Coach Dara. So, Alyssa, go ahead with Coach Dara.
I'm here with Coach Dara. Coach, how are you feeling about the performance of the first playoff game so far?
I think we have the ability to play a lot better, and hopefully we do so here in the second half.
Alrighty, I'm hoping for a win and to continue with the playoff season. Thank you so much. Jimmy and Danny, back to you.
Thanks, Alyssa. So, Jose, we just heard from Coach Dara. He
Yeah.
said he thinks we can play a lot better. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Oh, no doubts about that. It looks like we're a little complacent, a little flat. And I know it's hard, people talking about this and talking about that, but a couple of things I want you guys to watch for in the second half. We have scored 40 points in 6 consecutive football games. Only the 1970 team has done that, and they did 5. Wow. So we're looking to raise that to 7 in the second half. And obviously we're watching Xavier real close here. Xavier came into the game with 845 yards and receptions. The only people with more were Dabby Niglio with 886, Joel Gonzalo with 868, and Tim Wargo with 863. So unofficially in the first half, because it seems like every one of his plays had a penalty or something else, so I have to figure out how this is accurate, but it looks like he has 4 receptions for 8 yards. So he's going to need a nice 35 or 36-yard reception to break that record, which, by the way, stands since 1966. It's one of the oldest records left on the books here, so hopefully he can do that. We were prepared to talk about Luke, and obviously Lucas didn't make the game tonight, and we're hoping that he can be back for next week, but we were looking at him to become a 1,500-yard rusher. And other than Veach and Diminick, there have only been Kyle Karicki and Lucas Klingerman, so it would have been great company for him to join that as well.
Absolutely.
It would have. And, Jose, can you just for 1 second, and I'm sorry, I was trying to write as fast as I could.
Yeah.
The couple guys ahead of Xavier, I heard Wargo.
Well, Timmy Wargo is at 863, Joel Gonzalo is 866, and Frank Dabby Niglio holds the record at 886. And that was established in 1966. And unofficially, I have Xavier for 8. Right now, that'll put him around 853. So we're looking at 34 yards something in the second half. So hopefully we can get him one, and he can get that in the books.
All right, well, thank you, Jose, for everything. We're going to go ahead and get back to the second half here again. It's always great, the context you can provide. So look forward to talking to you after the game.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks,
good luck.
Jose.
All righty, bye-bye.
All right, so a lot of interesting stuff there, but we're right back at it. Shoppy's kick, it's a good one. That's going to be Johns at the 18. He's going to lower his shoulder. Runs right into Maddox Reed, and Reed is going to be down. As is Johns, I believe.
Yeah.
Both teams calling for support.
Yeah, and that's you talked about it. There was hard contact there. Reed and Johns both kind of lowered their shoulders at the same time. It appeared that they went shoulder to shoulder. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, and hopefully, both players can return to the field here pretty quickly. But this is it's kind of how this late in the first half there we saw a lot of injury timeouts. Not the way you want to start the second half of play here, but I think everybody's revved up and amped up on both sides of the football here. And realistically, I mean, we didn't get a chance to talk about it, but Red Tornadoes are the 3 seed. The Rams, the 6 seed coming into tonight. They were 6-4, and it's good to see Maddox up and coming off the field under his own power there. But, you know, this is the first winning season for the Wyalusing Valley Rams since 2010, Jim. So,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, realistically, this coming here to play against the Red Tornadoes, you know, who's looking to capture win number 899 in this game, you know, been very familiar with the district playoffs and stuff like that. This is kind of an unfamiliar position for the Wyalusing Rams, and they've come to play tonight. I mean, we weren't anticipating the first half being so evenly matched. Maybe not exactly on the scoreboard, but from a yardage standpoint, the Rams are actually out-rushing the Red Tornadoes.
Yeah, those were some interesting numbers. And again, it's always nice to kind of hear from Jose directly when we can get to do that. So that's always a cool function. Having Alyssa on the field to talk to Coach Dara is pretty awesome too.
Yeah.
Again, we just kind of always want to make sure we're highlighting all the great work WKMC TV does, again, as a student-run TV studio. And we're going to get a little bit of a pause here as the Rams players continue to be looked at, but I think it's important. Again, we talk about all the good work the students do keeping these broadcasts running, and so today, again, I'm telling you, I'll get it right at some point this afternoon. The director of today's broadcast is Landon Musser. Graphics are Isabella Jack Cook. The replay is Jen Andress. Cameras are Sam Zatney, Corey Carl, Lucas Lubinsky. Photographers are Ava Scavery and Zoe Psycho. And your sideline reporter extraordinaire and photographer is Alyssa Trefsker. So again, great work as always to all those students involved. I think while the player is being tended to on the field, perhaps we'll step away here as well. So don't go too far. We'll be back as soon as we can with the rest of the second half. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Silver Bowl. The young man from the Rams who's down is now off the field and being tended to. When we restart here again, we didn't get very far into the third quarter here. 7 seconds was in the opening kickoff. The Red Tornadoes had Maddox Reed go out, and he does seem to be still on the sideline.
Yeah.
And I believe it was Dylan Johns for the Rams who was down on the field, but we'll get back to play here. It's 1st and 10 Rams at the 35. They trail the Red Tornadoes 22-8.
We see Earl, number 15, in there at the quarterback spot for the Rams as well.
Handoff to Hunsinger off the right side, and to Dan's point, so it does appear that there was an injury to quarterback Parker Petlock that was addressed during the half. So we do not see Mr. Petlock anywhere at this point, and that's as far as kind of we'll go to talk about that. Second and 6.
And we're gonna see, who's that in at the fullback spot there for the Rams? Because it looks like it looks like number 68,
Yeah.
which would be J.J. Latini. But we have to kind of get verification here.
Try to see as best we can. It's a pitch to Hunsinger, and Hunsinger's gonna do what he can to get out over the 35. I don't know, Dan. I think you're right.
Yeah, I think so. Which I mean, realistically, I mean that kind of takes a level away from the Rams' offense. Because I mean, I have to brush up on it, but I'm pretty sure if you're wearing that, a 60-50 number, I don't think you can carry the football. But I guess we'll find out here if they give him any carries, for certain.
So it'll be 3rd and 9. And they'll try that short peach to Hunsinger. Hunsinger's going to be hit by Miller and dropped. See who gets off the bottom. Again, Miller certainly there. Looks like Schultz, Shimko, and company.
Yeah.
And we expect the Rams to punt.
Expected, but didn't really see much of a change there.
Nope, so they're not going to punt. So ball at their own 39. It's 4th and 6. The Rams opt to go. We'll see if they just hard count their way through this. Nope, it's the short pitch to Hunsinger, and there's nowhere to go. That's Widener, and it's Matt Belichick. And it's going to be no gain at best on 4th and 6, and the Red Tornadoes are going to take over 1st and 10 at the 40-yard line of the Rams.
Yeah, so that's a really good start there for the Red Tornado defense. Just kind of getting the ball back for your offense immediately. They don't give up a first down. Quick 4 plays, and the ball's back in the hands of your offense, who's really looking to find a rhythm here. We've got a flag.
It's going to be an illegal substitution against the Rams.
12 men on the field, I think. And that's what it looked like. I mean, number 4 there, James Rogan, ran off the field for the Rams, and nobody else came on. So let's say that's 12 men on the field, would be my guess.
Another flag there. Quick handoff to Karicki.
And then a late flag, really late. I mean,
so I'm still kind of just thrown off by the penalty to start the drive, to be honest.
yeah.
Because that's an illegal substitution signal that was given.
And if this late flag is going to go the way that I think it's going to go, it's just, going to be.
So it's a hold against the Red Tornadoes is the first one. The second one is going to be a personal foul against the Red Tornadoes.
That's for blocking too hard. That's that call right there. That's blocking too hard in the secondary. It's exactly what it was. And that's a tough one there.
So they're going to walk this off.
So is this just going to be a 25-yard penalty? They're going to walk both of them off, and
that is exactly what it looks like.
One was a dead ball penalty. But I don't know how this plays.
Winds up being a
because should be no more than 25 yards.
Well, it's a 20-yard penalty is what it winds up being. It's going to be 1st and 31.
But it was a 1st and 5, Jim. It was a 1st and 5. So messy all around here.
Spears the throw, and he's going to go right up top to Diaz, and he's got him. He's got to come back for the ball. Good coverage by, said 15 or 12.
Couldn't get a good look at it, but he got to Diaz right as the ball got there.
It would make sense if it was 15. That's Earl.
But or was it?
Or was it 17? Tabor, yeah, I think you're right. It's 17 Augustus Tabor.
Yeah. 15's down here on the lower side, Earl.
Spears the throw again. They got the screen set up, and he's got it to Karicki, but a nice play made. And that's 56, I believe.
Yeah,
Hatton.
I think so. That's Hatton.
Now, got a whistle.
Yeah, what's the...
Not sure what the whistle was for.
Whistle, but no flag.
So things have gone from bad to worse for the Red Tornadoes here to start the second half.
Yeah.
The ball will travel back further now. It's at the 34-yard line, which is going to bring up a 3rd and a lot, and maybe we'll leave it at that. So Schultz will be by himself to the short side of the field.
And
Bailey, Diaz, and Belichick in that order to the right.
And the Rams just playing a prevent here.
And Spears has trouble with the snap. He gets it back to Diaz, but now Diaz has some blockers, and he's still fast. He's still on his feet, too, ladies and gentlemen, and he drags Rams defenders back into Ram territory. And after all that, it brings up 4th and 14.
Long. Yeah, and I think we're in the position here for the Red Tornadoes to go for it on 4th down.
There's a 4th and 14 for the Red Tornadoes.
And a hard count there. The Rams jump, no call. The Red Tornadoes,
I mean, they
take a step back.
Yeah, you could hear the frustration here from the Red Tornado sideline. It appeared that the Rams had broken the plane of the football there, but no call.
Spears the throw. He's under pressure. He's looking for Schultz, and he's overthrown him. And so it'll turn. The Red Tornadoes will turn it over on downs there. Having run about 5 plays, a huge gain from Diaz, which is interestingly enough, they're going to kind of catapult him a little bit further up that all-time single-season reception yards list.
You're right.
Jose had told us at the halftime. Again, I think he's probably still unofficially shy of the 886 that Dabby Niglio put up in 1966, but that might have been enough to get him past Timmy Wargo and Jed Gonzalo.
Yeah. I think you're right, Jim. And again, as you mentioned, it's all going to be unofficial until Jose gets a chance to look back over everything.
So now it's 1st and 10 for the Rams. And they're going to give it to the up man.
It's God, I think, that time.
That's number 7, Casey God, on the handoff, or on the rush. Not much there.
Yeah, we'll see. One thing to point out, good to see number 3, Maddox Reed, back out there on the defensive side of the ball for the Red Tornadoes.
success in all your future endeavors from the Mount Carmel Lads.
So 7 minutes here in the third quarter. Still 22-8 Red Tornadoes. In what's been just an odd game.
Yeah.
That pitch became almost a handoff to Hunsinger. He goes off the right side to get out to around the 49. It's going to bring up 3rd and 5.
Yeah, you're right, Jim. It looked like that kind of went from a pitch play to a stretch play, and that could be, with the changing of the quarterbacks there, just a little more sure-handed handing that ball off. With Earl in there.
So 3rd down. Earl to God, and there's nowhere to go. Ryan Widener, who's just announced here at the stadium as the Mike Terry Award winner for Outstanding Lineman last week.
Awesome.
Makes a huge play right on cue, and it's going to be 4th. 4th and about 8.
Yeah, we'll
Which I
see.
thought it was going to be more than that.
Yeah, I thought so too. It looked like forward progress stopped, and Widener got a nice little push back there.
So for the 3rd time this half in as many drives, we'll see a 4th down attempt by an offense. And it's a pitch to Hunsinger off the right side. He's got a good push, but he's going to be stopped short.
Yeah, just short.
So the Red Tornadoes are going to take over 1st and 10 at their own 40, looks like they're going to say the 47-yard line.
And again, the Red Tornadoes here just kind of been their own worst enemy, looking to find a rhythm here offensively. And, we talked about the huge, elephant in the room with number 24 on the sideline there without his pads on, Luke Blessing for the Red Tornadoes. But the offense has just not looked comfortable throughout this game so far. So we'd like to see them get into a rhythm.
It's Bailey again out across the 50.
Bailey on carry. Brought down by Aaron Carr for the Rams.
It'll be 2nd and about 6.
Gain of 5 brings up a 2nd and 5.
They'll stay in the shotgun tight, double wing set. Spears sends Cricky in motion, but he's going to hand it to Diaz on that inside sally. And Diaz was a shoestring away from breaking that one. It's a nice play by, I believe that's 56 Hatton.
Yeah.
But not before Diaz picks up a 1st down.
Yeah, nice little run there by Diaz. Wasn't able to break free there, but got a Red Tornado 1st down, and the Red Tornado's moving in the right direction.
Spears to throw, and he's got Belichick right away, but he's got Diaz too, and he goes that way. Diaz comes back, the ball's incomplete. A great play by Earl.
Yeah, that time it was Earl on this side of the field, and a very nice play. It looked like Diaz went up and got it, and Earl kind of got his body in between Diaz and the ball and didn't allow him to pull that one in.
Yeah, Spears had Belichick and Diaz. Both had gotten behind the defense. The ball's perhaps just a yard or two short. And Earl had a nice recovery.
Yeah.
2nd and 10 at the 42. And it's Spears will keep this one himself, and he's going to take a shot. Looked like he had space for a second.
Yeah.
But I think that's Hunsinger, 33, and they're on the stop.
Yeah, I mean, Hunsinger's been the kind of the playmaker on both sides of the ball for the Rams here. He's accounted for their blocked punt, a lot of their tackles here on the defensive side, and he's carried the ball a good bit.
I'm going to correct myself. That one was Vanderpool, 38. Spears rolls out, and he's got Diaz. Now Diaz is going to put the brakes on, but a nice job. And a hit out of bounds will get a flag.
And they're
going to hit out of bounds.
Yeah.
There'll be a flag there. Diaz makes the reception and gets upfield. He's driven out by 17. Augustus Tabor did a nice job of tackling him in the open field, which is no small task. But again, an additional kind of infraction came out of bounds, and they'll add a half the distance to this.
Yeah. Yeah, because that one's going to be inside the 30-yard line here, so that's going to be half the distance to the goal. But the Red Tornadoes, again, you know, finally kind of having some positive plays here on the offensive side of the ball, starting to kind of find their rhythm that they've been searching for throughout this, you know, first quarter and a half so far, or half and a half.
Karicki down inside the 5, and there'll be a flag here. I believe it'll be against the Red Tornadoes. It'll be walked off from there. Oh, it's actually going to be a face mask, so perhaps not against the Red Tornadoes.
Yeah.
It was, I'll be honest with you, it was thrown at the foot of a Red Tornado that wasn't Karicki.
Yeah.
So I kind of jumped to a little bit of a conclusion there, but your face mask against the Rams. And this will be interesting to kind of administer because it's going to be called around the 3-yard line or so. So it'll be about a 1.5 yard penalty. But they will get a first down out of it. So it'll be first and goal from, I don't even know if they're going to move the ball, Dan.
Yeah, I don't think they are, because I think where they placed it, they're just going to keep it.
It looks like it's already inside the 1.
Yeah.
And Spears will keep this one himself, and he'll have another rushing touchdown this week to go with the one he picked up last week. And it's 28-8 Red Tornadoes with 3:32 left in the third quarter.
Yeah, and it's good job there by the Red Tornadoes getting that monkey off their back there. They wanted to get started fast here in the second half. They got, you know, stopped on 4th down on their first offensive drive after some penalties. Now their second opportunity with the ball here, they convert it into points.
Good snap, good hold, good kick. 29-8 now at the Silver Bowl in this District 4 Class 2A quarterfinal matchup between the Red Tornadoes, the home team, the 3 seed, and the Wyalusing Valley Rams, the 6 seed. Traveled 83 miles for today's matchup, and it's, again, a Saturday afternoon game, a little different than what we're used to. The Red Tornadoes perhaps impacted by that a little bit early on, off to a slow start, but certainly working to find the rhythm a little bit here as the night's gone on.
Yeah, you're right, Jim. I think the Red Tornadoes, you know, even last week against Shamokin, they kind of had a slow first half, and it was in large part due to the ball control type of offense that the Indians ran. And that's kind of what we've been seeing from the Rams here as well. A ball control, you know, controlling that time of possession. You give the Red Tornadoes less opportunities to score points. They have to take advantage of the opportunities that they do have. And the Rams defense has played well to this point, but hopefully the Red Tornadoes trying to find their rhythm here in the second half.
Choppy will kick for the Red Tornadoes. It's a nice kick. Gonzalez falls down, so it's going to bounce. Be picked up, and a good return. Is that Earl? I think that's Earl.
I didn't. Yeah, that was Earl. You're right.
To about the 36-yard line. Again, we just want to thank today's sponsor, Tower of Pizza, and want to give another shout out to Joe Daukus and all the friends at the Lithuanian Club, celebrating 100 years of Lithuanian heritage, Lithuanian cultural heritage, and support for MCA football. So it's 1st and 10. The ball's at the 36. 3:27 left. 29-8 Red Tornadoes. And be right to the up man. And that's Hunsinger.
Yeah.
He'll get across the 40, about the 42, so nice gain on first down.
Yeah, Hunsinger runs hard, Jim. I mean,
All
of these Rams backs run very hard. I mean, they kind of keep their shoulders square, and they fight forward.
Well, we didn't talk about it too much, but it's a little difficult at times to kind of compile some stats for our Wyalusing counterparts here. But one thing I can say for sure is Hunsinger carried the ball 31 times last week.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised he runs hard. He runs often. And this time it'll be God. And God will have a first down out across the 50 into Red Tornado territory.
This is the first down for the Rams.
Yeah, that's going to be another Rams first down here. And you know, we've talked about it. This game is you know, we've had a lot of injury timeouts, so the game's not going fast. But when the Rams have the football, the time just flies off that clock because they're always just running the ball downhill, you know, 3-4 yards in a cloud of dust.
Hunsinger again, he's stuck immediately. That's Shim. Well, there aren't any right now. It's
Right.
just us, really. Again, a couple other games tonight from a District 4 Class 2A standpoint. Troy and Hughesville will play up in Troy tonight at 7. Southern and North Penn. North Penn will make the trip again tonight at 7 as well. We mentioned Line Mountain, already victorious last night over Towanda, 46.
Yeah, you're right, Jim.
23.
That was Gonzalez. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
Gonzalez up under his own power, and he's going to make his way to the sideline. So it's great to see there. But again, this Rams team are giving a pretty good accounting of themselves thus far tonight. They've lost a few key playmakers to injury thus far.
Yeah.
And yet still out here picking up first downs. In this case, though, it's third down. 3rd and 8 from the 47, a minute 23 in the third quarter. They trail the Red Tornadoes by 3 scores, 29-8.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about those playmakers that the Rams have lost, but the thing that remains the same, and I think a lot of the reason why those first downs continue is that big offensive line that they have up front.
That'll be the pitch. This one will go to God. And a nice play made by Kricki and Ben Miller.
Yeah.
Ben Miller kind of, it was interesting. They're almost mirroring each other, right? Where Miller's moving laterally across the line of scrimmage and Kricki was moving laterally behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, you're right. And they both kind of got to God as he put his foot in the ground to kind of cut back up field.
Both were able to find God in the chaos there.
Yeah.
So it's 4th down, 4th and 7. Fourth will become 4th and 12 here. There's a little extra movement in the Rams backfield.
And Jim, just something that to point out that it appears that the Red Tornadoes have done is they've moved Kimsel from his safety spot in there as a linebacker. That kind of combat this tight, you know, set that the Rams run. So he's in there with Miller and Reed so this looks more like a 3-5 than a 3-4, what the Red Tornadoes normally run.
Hunsinger, they're going to try to get the edge, but he's going to be hit by Kricki, and he'll power forward. Again, he's a strong, hard runner. Looks like Reed will help finish him off, but it's going to be turnover on downs, and the Red Tornadoes will take over 1st and 10 with 2 seconds left in the third quarter.
Yes. And we see now that Red Tornadoes offense defense a little bit less bend here in the second half. Seen they found a way to kind of combat the Rams' tough downhill offensive running game.
Spears to throw. It's a quick out looking for Fesniak. Batted down. But that's enough to do it for the third quarter. So with 3 out of 4 in the books, Red Tornadoes lead 29-8 in this District 4 Class 2A quarterfinal matchup.
Yeah, and that was number 73 for the Rams. Big defensive end Will McBride. I mean, they have him listed at 6'4", 245 pounds. That's not really the guy you want to be trying to throw the ball over top of there. Just kind of got his hands up and batted that one away.
So Dan kind of alluded to it earlier. We've been so kind of engaged in the day-to-day, the week-to-week, that we probably haven't talked enough about a pretty important milestone coming forward here. So right now, the Red Tornado record as a program, the Mount Carmel area football program record, lifetime sits at 898 wins, 342 losses, and 59 ties, and 1,300. This is the 1,300th total
wow.
game for this program.
1,300.
Total
wow.
contest. So again, the Red Tornadoes are 12 minutes away from win number 899, which sets up a lot of interesting things to talk about for a potential matchup next week.
Yeah.
Which we can cover more in 12 minutes. That completion by Spears, quick out to Schultz. Again, Schultz always just does a nice job with those quick outs and the sure hands.
Yep.
It's going to be 2nd and 4. 3rd and 4, excuse me.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the Red Tornadoes do here. They're going to tighten things up here on a 3rd and short.
Spears sends Crick in motion. They give it to Diaz on that inside trap. Diaz is looking for a split, and oh my goodness, they didn't see him. And now it's a foot race. You're not going to catch 10. Touchdown, Mount Carmel.
What a play.
35-8, 45 yards from Diaz.
And what a run from Diaz. I mean, you're right, Jim. As soon as we could see it here developing from up here in the booth, that cutback lane that he had once he got, there were still Rams defenders running towards the pile as he was running past them going the other way. And he got to the sideline, and you're right. Once he gets out there, nobody's going to catch him.
And I was waiting for a different kind of opportunity to mention this, but ladies and gentlemen, it's worth mentioning that, and we caveat this with very unofficially, but the man that just electrically ran that ball in, as Shoppy's kick is up and good to make it 36, the man that just electrically ran that football in from 45 yards out also may now be the single season leader in receiving yards at Mount Carmel area.
Yeah, that's, I mean, and again, you know, Jose tries to keep us up to date with stuff on the fly, and he did. He made sure that he did it, you know, very unofficially. He made sure to use that caveat, but once he gets a chance to look over things, you're right. We may have a new single season receiving leader, you know, a record that has stood since the 60s, right? 66?
Yes.
Since 1966. So that is a very, very impressive record that may have been broken.
And again, let's also just to give Diaz all the credit we can, let's not forget, so he came in tonight with 845 yards receiving. Again, we think he's probably, you know, up around at least 40 or 50 yards today, which would give him that record. He also came into tonight with 521 yards rushing.
Wow.
So he's, you know, I'll venture a guess that based on that touchdown run and a big tackle there by Belichick.
Very nice.
The Belichicks, excuse me.
Belichicks.
Matthew started and Chase finished it. But Diaz very well may be over 600 yards rushing as well by now.
Yeah.
Which is just an incredible offensive output. The other thing worth noting, again, and Jose, if you were with us at halftime, Jose mentioned this. Now the Red Tornadoes sit 36 points, 11:37 remaining in the contest here. The Red Tornadoes have scored 40 points in 6 consecutive games, which is the school record.
Yeah, so now they're just looking to extend it.
But for now, the focus, again, remains inside the hash marks as the pitch to God goes, and God's got a little room there, and he's going to take on Belichick head-to-head. Belichick does a good job of sending him sideways until the cavalry comes. Widener, Lukoski, and others, and there's a late flag right at the point of contact. Looks like it's going to be a face mask. At least that's what the initial signal looked like from where I'm standing.
Okay.
We await. Personal foul. Okay, it's just a personal foul against the Red Tornadoes. Saw the motion going down, and I thought we were in a face mask standpoint.
Yeah.
But all we'll get is a personal foul note there. So after a nice 11-yard gain by God, tack another 15 onto it, and the Rams are in Red Tornado territory.
Yeah, and they're up to the ball quickly here.
That's God again, and Karicki does a nice job almost taking the pitch right from him.
Yeah, real nice play there by Karicki.
Will stay forward for a gain of 2.
Yeah. And we'll see Belichick come out and Keegan Brown go in.
Reed coming to the sideline as well. Looks like Al Bailey's out there now.
Okay.
On the defensive side as well.
So actually Brown was in for Reed and Bailey was in for Belichick. So I got them mixed up there.
And we get a jump by the Rams. They'll take him behind the sticks for this second down play.
Now we see Shimko coming out in number 60. That's Jabari Kynes for the Red Tornado heading in there to go over top of the nose.
Yeah, Jabari's been that kind of first one in along the line all season. He's done a really nice job.
Yeah, the Red Tornadoes seem to have a good rotation there with Lamas, Shimko, and Herb. But Kynes, you're right. He's always been kind of that first guy to get in there.
God off the left side, and he's still on his feet. He gets out. You see that maybe the 46-yard line.
Yeah.
We'll bring up third and then about 6.
And now we'll see Fesniak checking in and Delaney coming out here for the Red Tornadoes. So we'll try and get him as we see him here. It's nice when they do them one at a time. It's easier to do it than a big change, you know, on a change of downs or something like that. Change of possession.
3rd and 7, correction. They're going to turn around and hand it off. It'll be a first down for the Rams. That's Hunsinger.
Hunsinger with the carry.
Yeah, we'll see what the try and pick up if there's any other changes here. But it looks like they're going to stay with who they have right now, the Red Tornadoes. But yeah, another first down. Again, you know, the Rams are nothing if they're not consistent. You know, they
right.
they move the ball very, very consistently.
Off the right side, Hunsinger. Have another first down for the Rams, down to around the 26-yard line.
Yeah, and I am. You know, you mentioned it last week. Hunsinger, 31 carries, 158 yards. He had a big day.
Yeah, that's a horse. He's a workhorse.
Yeah, and I mean he's been everything, kind of he's been as advertised. You know, today for the Rams, he's been their steadfast one, and they're in the backfield, and they keep going back to him.
This time they'll go to the up man, but it's also Hunsinger.
I think that.
Oh, that's Vanderpool.
Yeah.
Excuse me. All right. Sometimes the 8s and the 3s.
Yeah.
I know they moved him around before. I thought they were trying to pull a fast one on me again. Now the good thing, if you're Coach Rogers as well, is Hunsinger's a junior, so you got another year of that young man.
Yeah.
Dylan Johns, who was pretty successful running the sweep to the other side earlier tonight, he's a sophomore.
Wow.
So there's a lot of opportunities here for the Rams to kind of continue on this trajectory. And there's God. And Kynes tripped him up and slowed him up. And looks like Karicki and Bailey are going to be in there on the stop.
Yeah, and God, the only senior in that backfield currently. So that's gets him within a 3rd and short here. And I mean, realistically, with the kind of offense that you have, this offense is built for 3rd and shorts.
That's very true. And they'll pick it up with Hunsinger, and he's inside the 10. So it doesn't seem to be a whole lot the Red Tornadoes can do to really stop that initial surge that, again, you mentioned, Jose told us at the half, the Rams had 40 rushing attempts for 171 yards in 24 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, so a little over 4 yards a carry, and they haven't changed much.
No.
These are strong kids, too. That's God that time.
Very strong.
So somehow Ben Miller has the football,
Yeah.
just to be clear. And it didn't look like he came off the bottom of the pile.
And every time that happens, it appears that the official just kind of throws it back to the guy who placed the ball, and he places it, and it remains Rams football.
We get an official timeout for a shoelace here. But it'll be 2nd and goal from the 6, and you're right, though. And fumble recoveries are an interesting thing, too. Just because it's kind of some weird combination, right, of luck in that it has, right, somebody's got to fumble it, because it's not all the time that the person who causes the fumble recovers the fumble. So you've got to be in the right place at the right time.
Right.
But then there's that idea of you make your own luck by always being around the football. And they're going to get a big push from God here. They'll stop the play short of the goal line. It'll be 3rd and goal from maybe the 3. But we just talking about those fumble recoveries, because I was thinking about it, and we didn't really talk about it a whole lot. Maddox Reed has 4 fumble recoveries. 3 of them were against Southern, right? We were excited, and I'm sure in the moment you say, oh, we recovered by Reed, and you go through there. But you don't always take stock to say, oh, my goodness, that was 3.
Yeah.
And Miller has 2 on the season himself.
And that's credit to, as I always mention Coach Gary Hawanick from back when I played. He always tell you to be in the picture frame.
And there's Hunsinger. And he's not in the that's God, not just in the picture frame. No, it is Hunsinger, but he's in the end zone.
Yeah.
So it's 36-14 now with 5:51 remaining here in the 4th quarter.
Yeah. Again, I mean, the Rams kind of just being themselves all the way down the field. They're not kind of veering away from what they do and what they do well, and they're gonna live and die on that hill. They're a downhill run team. They run out of a power backfield set, and when it works, it works.
And the kick is up and good.
And then there's a late flag.
There have been a lot of those that are late.
Yeah, and really, we'll have to see what the call is here.
Take your sunglasses off.
So the officials are booking it.
Yeah.
We'll wait for the signal. Hopefully it's one we're familiar with. It's just an unsportsmanlike conduct against the Red Tornadoes. So that'll be assessed on the kickoff.
Yeah.
Against the Red Tornadoes, your score. With 5 minutes, 51 seconds.
So I mean, really now, you're going to be kicking off from inside Red Tornado territory. So again, your 3rd kickoff of the game, you've gone for 2, and both of them have been onside kicks. Now you're going to be in Red Tornado territory to kick the ball off. Why not go for the trifecta?
Well, and I for one, I appreciate kind of the format of the onside kick for the Rams. Because again, you think about historically onside kicks, which are you want the 2 little hops and then a big one, and it just gets crazy and you can get in there.
Yeah.
But they almost remind me of like the Pat McAfee onside kick, which is I'm going to kick it, run right next to it for 10 yards, and try to shield myself.
Right.
So the Red Tornadoes have the front line up, and it doesn't look like a hands team.
No, this is the normal kick return team.
And so Hatton will try to just tap that one and he'll miss it. So with the illegal procedure there, the Red Tornadoes will
get 5 yards back from that penalty.
So it'll be back to the 50 now. But again, I think to some extent, if the Rams were kicking from their own 20, they think to still expect this this effort here. And it's interesting because that winds up being an an offsides penalty.
Yeah.
Is how officially that's booked. Just because of the nature of the kick.
Yeah, I think it came off the side of Hatton's foot there.
The Red Tornadoes' front line is very tight, all basically within the hash marks. And now Hatton will drive it deep. It's going to get over Diaz's head into the end zone. So Hatton will have himself a touchback tonight to go along with the successful onside kick to start the game.
Yeah.
Where the Red Tornadoes will start 1st and 10 at their own 25, 51 left. They lead 36-15. And would like nothing more, I'm sure, than to try to salt this one away.
Yeah, I agree. I think this. I mean, if you're the Red Tornadoes, this is kind of a put-away drive. The Rams have, if you're on that Red Tornado sideline, I think you would say that the Rams have been kind of pests today. They've hung around. They've been a little stingy on the defensive side of the ball, prevented the big play. Too many big plays, and offensively they've just eaten the clock. So you kind of want to keep the ball out of their hands, put another score in here, and then put this one away.
That'll be Karicki off the left side. He brings it back to the right. He'll get out to around the 24-yard line, make it 2nd and 6. Again, we want to thank today's sponsor, Tower of Pizza, for their support and all of your support throughout the season. Spears to throw now. He's got a clean pocket, and he's going to look for Schultz, who goes up and makes the reception. Now he avoids a tackler. Now it's a foot race. And can he be caught? No. 42-15. That's the Red Tornadoes' second 70-plus yard score of the night. This one, 76 yards from Spears to Schultz.
And I know I mentioned just previously that the Rams have kind of prevented the big play, and the Red Tornadoes do have 2 70-plus yard touchdowns plus the 45-yard rush from Diaz, but they've slowed the Red Tornadoes down. But I mean, that's just a great pitch and catch. That's just faith in your receiver to go up and get the football, and then Schultz does the rest from there. It's a good ball from Spears and a great individual effort by Schultz on the back end.
Shoppy's kick is up and good. And it's 43-15 here at the Silver Bowl. Late in this District 4 quarterfinal matchup.
And Jim, as you mentioned on the last drive there, that will extend the record one more game to now 7 consecutive games of 40-plus points for the Red Tornadoes. And if my math is correct, this 7th consecutive 40-plus point game goes all the way back to the Red Tornadoes' last loss.
Yeah.
It started the week following the tough loss to Milton, at Milton. And that's kind of when the Red Tornadoes found themselves as an offense. They found their identity. And they've looked tremendous ever since. Even sometimes they get off to a slow start. They always are able to kind of turn it on and rely on their playmakers to get in there and make things happen.
Shoppy kicking. It's going to be Earl.
I think it looks like Tabor back there with Earl.
And it will be Tabor up the right side, and he's going to run into Karicki, Cooper Karicki, Lukoski, and Belichick. It'll be 1st and 10. Rams at the 32.
And Lukoski did a really good job that time. We talked about it earlier. Gonzalez kind of got the edge on the kick return to start the second half. But Lukoski held that edge and then kind of pressed it in and got in there on the tackle on Tabor as well.
Red Tornadoes taking a timeout here. We'll see a couple of substitutions here. We'll wait until they get out on the field to confirm, but it looks like we're going to have Adams.
I think I see 76. That's Shiganowski.
Velasquez. Fesniak.
Yep. You mentioned Adams already.
I think I saw Keegan Brown out there.
Yeah, we saw he last drive. He and Kynes. I see Kynes out in the huddle there as well. We're both out there last drive.
Ryan Bush was standing there looking like he's going to get out there. And
there's number 14.
Noel.
Yep.
Ezekiel Noel.
Now we'll get a better look at it here.
58 Joshua Blessing as well.
Yep.
Actually, we got everybody but Blessing. Oh, and 56 Dylan Poe heading in.
Yeah. And now the Red Tornadoes got to get up there on the ball here, get their call.
And it's going to be Vanderpool. And nowhere to go there is Bush and Brown on the stop.
Yeah. I mean, the Red Tornadoes are just driving running backs backwards. I mean, it actually ended up as a 1-yard gain, even though Vanderpool looked like he got taken down about 4 yards in the backfield.
And so I think after last week, what the Red Tornadoes needed this Saturday afternoon, specifically from their passing game, was kind of a get-right game.
Yeah.
I think there were a couple, as the handoff is to
that's Hunsinger
off the right side. Red Tornadoes had a couple plays last week that really didn't go their way. Number one was the interception that was batted around directly into the hands of a Shamokin defender. So that's a tough one.
Yeah.
And then the reality is, with what Blessing was doing on the ground, the Red Tornadoes didn't really need to throw the football.
Right.
They stuck with what worked, and they had a lot of success. But I think, as we've seen, as the Red Tornadoes move, presumably, if they can hold up this 28-point lead for the next 3.5 minutes, the Red Tornadoes' ability to throw the football, as we see Vanderpool pick up a first down,
yeah,
was paramount in their success against their presumed foe next week in Southern Columbia.
Yeah. Yeah, and just on that last play there, we saw check-in number 19, Ethan Urbanovich, and number 88 for the Red Tornadoes, Draco Shellhammer. And then there is number 45, Thomas Berezovsky, checking in as well.
So we'll wait to hear for sure from Jose on some of the numbers. But again, I can tell you at the very least, Spears has 2 touchdowns. The 2 touchdown passes are around 122 yards just by themselves.
Wow.
And he kept the football with his offense all day. So you can't ask for a whole lot more than that out of your starting quarterback.
No, he played a very, very clean game. And I think there's a few there that, even though he did play a very clean game offensively, there's a few there that Spears wanted to have back. You know, where just a step further, a little bit short on some of those passes that could have turned into big plays.
Vanderpool again will have a first down. We're under 2.5 minutes here at the Silver Bowl remaining. 43-15, Red Tornadoes lead. Number 18, Landon Adams.
Yep.
Good to see Landon back after missing him last week. .45 Berezovsky back in. And it's Vanderpool again, and he'll be hit immediately. Again, the Rams, they get a nice push there.
Yeah.
Gonna bring up second and about 6.
Yeah.
Minute 30. Second and 6, balls at the 34-yard line. A little trouble with the snap there, but he gets the pitch to Hunsinger. And Hunsinger's got the edge, and he's going to go in for a Rams touchdown. So we'll get another one in here for the Rams. It's 43-21 right now.
Yeah. Yeah, nice run there by Hunsinger. And you know, that's well-deserved for Hunsinger. He's been the bell cow. He's been the guy for the Rams throughout the day today.
Rams will kick. And that kick is going to be no good. Just a bit short, so it'll stay 43-21 with 1:14 left here at the Silver Bowl. Tonight's WKMC TV broadcast, again, sponsored by Tower Pizza. I want to thank Tower Pizza and all our sponsors for their continued support throughout the season.
And now we'll see this. You know, we talk about this. Seems like every week now that the scramble to make sure everybody's ready to go for the special teams play. But I'm sure we'll see some changes on the offensive side of the ball for the Red Tornadoes once they get the ball back here.
It's like the Red Tornadoes are sending out a true hands team this time around.
Yeah. Yeah, you see
Delaney
Spears going out there.
Spears, Karicki.
Anytime you see the quarterback on special teams, usually you think, you know, there's something afoot.
Well, and you couldn't have the hands team without the self-proclaimed best hands on the team in Adams.
Yeah, that's very true. And you got to put Diaz back deep, even though he's got very good hands. He's the only one to chase it down if it gets, you know, going crazy down there.
He's going to take it on a hop. And Diaz does a nice job returning it over the 35 to the 36. So the Red Tornadoes will take over 1st and 10 with 1:07 left. And there's the changes, Dan, so call them out.
All right, well, first one is going to be number 16, Gavin Marshalik in there at quarterback. You've got Tate Adams in there. You have Belichick in there as well. Backfield, Cooper Karicki's still in there. You've got Orville Fesniak. On the line, we've got Shaganowski, Kynes, I believe, is that Bush?
Bush, Blessing.
Blessing.
Can't see who's the right tackle. Marshall looking for Adams. It's incomplete.
Marshall's pass to Adams falls incomplete. Rogan on coverage.
Oh, it's
It was Poe, I think.
Yep,
56.
56, yep.
Yep. And you've got Danny Velasquez out there as well. Keegan Brown at that fullback spot. I think that's it.
It's pretty good, Dan. Pretty efficient.
Trying to be.
Now they'll give it to Karicki. Karicki will take a shot there. That was Hatton.
Yeah.
They get out to about the 38-yard line. We're under a minute remaining here. It'll give us, should be 3rd and maybe 8.
Yeah.
Marshall takes it, hands it to Karicki. Karicki's going to be tackled from behind. That's number
78.
Zach Fenton.
Yeah, that's a big fella out there, too. Fenton.
And that's going to bring up 4th and 10. But the Red Tornadoes aren't going to have to snap the ball again here. As we're going to watch the last few seconds run off the clock, and there it is, all zeros. Officially, the Red Tornadoes survive and advance as the name of the game going forward here. They'll get a hard-fought 43-21 victory over the visiting Wyalusing Valley Rams. And the Red Tornadoes will move on to the semifinals next week at a time and a location and opponent to be determined.
Yeah.
Though the reality is there's only 2 options here. Number 1, the Red Tornadoes will be back here to face North Penn,
Yeah.
or in Catawissa versus our familiar foe, Southern Columbia.
Yeah, and you know, as you mentioned, Jim, it's survive and advance at this point. I'm sure the Red Tornadoes are going to go back and watch this film and see some missed opportunities and see some plays where, you know, that things can be cleaned up a little bit. And, you know, we talk about it all the time. Coach Dara, football guy. Even in the games where you play tremendously, you can always find stuff to work on. And I think this is one of those ones where the Red Tornadoes kind of got off to a bit of a slow start. They didn't come out of the blocks hot. So there's definitely going to be a lot of things to work on going into next week, no matter the opponent or the location of the game.
Yeah, and I think in moments like this, you realize that, again, while the Red Tornadoes are still able to put up 43 points, Jose will give us the numbers here. I'm sure they're still gaudy offensive numbers.
Yeah.
But when things kind of start to feel a little shaky early on, you really miss having Blessing to say, hey, we just need a couple first downs here, man.
Absolutely.
Right? Just give us 6, 7, 8 yards, a couple possessions, a couple carries in a row, and let us find our rhythm.
Right. And yeah, and I mean, that's and you know, nobody knows if you know, Wyalusing came into this game knowing that they weren't going to have to compete with Blessing or not. But realistically, I mean, having that in the back of your head, you come out and you see number 24 on the sidelines not suited up, and you're on the other side, you're like, okay, we can kind of focus our defense a little bit more. There's not, they're missing that extra oomph, and that, like you said, kind of the fail-safe, I mean, is Blessing. You know, you're missing a guy that's rushed for over 1,300 yards and accounted for 22 touchdowns on the year. It's a big miss. So takes the offense a little bit to get moving in the right direction, but they found their way.
Yeah, one thing I really want to talk about tonight is, again, we talked about the Red Tornadoes doing everything they can to kind of get Spears right and get him back on track, which he did admirably. The 2 touchdowns to Schultz, though, I don't know that Schultz has had a 2-touchdown game yet this season.
No.
So it's big time to kind of get those through there. And I think again, we're going to be treated to be able to actually go to Jose. So, Jose, can you hear us, sir?
You guys hear me?
Yes, we hear
yes, sir.
you.
So,
Okay.
Jose, what do you have for us, sir?
All right, for Wyalusing, 72 rushes
Wow.
for 326 yards, 17 first downs, 0 of 4 passing. I have to check on that 72. That might be the most ever run against us in a single game.
Yeah.
I just don't have the opportunity right now to
Sure.
look it up. Mount Carmel, 17 rushes, 176 on the ground, 12 of 20 for 188. 10 first downs, not a typical game, but remember what we told you to watch for at the half, and we obviously did it with the 7th consecutive game over 40 points. This is an all-time best in 131 years of football, and I wish I could be more definitive on Xavier, but it seems like we said in the first half, 2 of his plays were on penalties, so it was difficult, and the last one was at the other end of the field, and then there was a half to the distance to the goal
Right.
penalty after it. So from my vantage point, I didn't exactly see where it was, but unofficially right now, he had 6 catches for 44 yards, which would make him the new single-season record holder for yards and receptions with 889.
Wow.
Oh, my
I
goodness.
will obviously do it over when I get home and on film to make sure that it's correct, but that's the way it looks to me right now. So it was a heck of a performance. I do have to mention Jacob Schultz, 4 catches, 139 yards. That 139 will make the special performance list for receptions in a single game. So we had some good things happen today, and hopefully all of the injured folks are going to come back okay, and we'll be good to go.
Yeah.
And Jose, from your vantage point, so we were talking about it last week with kind of the tough luck that Spears had on the 1 interception, and then the performance Blessing had where it made sense to just keep feeding him.
Yeah.
Did you get a sense that this Coach Dara and the staff were really focused on kind of giving Spears a get-right game heading into whoever the opponent might be next week?
No, actually not. When I talked to him before the game, it didn't seem like it had anything to do with with Cole, although at 188 yards is
Right.
obviously a great comeback game.
Yeah.
Not that he needed it. But, no, I thought there might have been some interest in getting Xavier to football, but I think that they really defended it very well. And, obviously Jim Roth is going to look at this, and he's going to have his own thoughts on how to take that away in the next game. And I think, hey, this is what we play all season for, to have a set up with Southern next week. So, hey, this is great. I hope we can keep playing for 5 more weeks.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
That's always the hope. And I think, Jose, Wyalusing, that 83 miles to come down here,
Yeah.
that's a 3-yard in a cloud of dust ball club if we've ever seen one, right, this season?
No doubt. I said, just right off the top of my head with that 72
Yeah.
rushes, I mean, that's crazy. And even when it was like 3rd and 8 and 3rd and 12, they were still running the football. They acquitted themselves quite well. They ought to be very proud of their team and their effort, even in this kind of a game. But credit to them. And you know what? You don't make the playoffs unless you have something to work with.
Absolutely.
So it was a pleasure to be here, a pleasure to see it. And hopefully everybody's okay. That's my wish right now. That's it.
Yeah.
Yep, likewise. So as we kind of move forward here, Jose, we were talking, another thing you talk about injuries, it's interesting when you look at across the state, some of these other teams that just by way of where they are in the district have buys this week, so a Farrell, Westinghouse, and you don't really think about it immediately until you see on a kickoff where a player like Maddox Reed goes down for a minute and you think, oh my goodness, right, every extra snap that we have to play is kind of one of those things that you just, it's interesting how it works out from a district standpoint.
No, you're right. And you would think that they'd come up with a better system,
Right.
that nobody would have buys, and I think that's an advantage
Yeah.
to that team. I mean, people would look at it the other way as well and say, well, it's not, because you should be playing every week to stay sharp. But, I don't like the injury thing. And the thing with Luke tonight, I think that if we were playing Southern tonight, I think Lucas would have wanted to play. Effectiveness, I'm not sure what it would have been like. But, yeah, injuries play a huge part in a team's success or non-success.
Well, Jose, thank you as always for it. I think we've got to listen with Coach Dara. We're going to kick it out that way. Have a great night, Jose.
All
Look
right.
forward
Thanks,
to talking
Jose.
to you next week.
All right, thanks, guys.
I'm here with Coach Darren. Coach, how do you feel about the team winning the first playoff game of the season?
It was a good victory. We're always happy to get a win. I think we could have played better, so I don't think we played up to our ability. But at the end of the day, it's nice to move on to the next round.
And how is the team going to prepare for the game next week?
Just like we do any other game. So we've got to have a great week of practice. Got to be, take it day by day and make sure every day is a great day. And I think we'll do that, and we'll be ready to roll for next week.
Alrighty, sounds nice. Jimmy and Danny, back to you.
Thanks,
Alyssa.
Alyssa.
Well, there you heard it. We heard from Jose of kind of where some of this stuff sits historically. Saw a great performance offensively, and as again, you get exactly what you expect you're going to get from Coach Dara, right? We're going to take next week like it's any other week, 1 week at a time. But those of us that are maybe outside of that locker room have the ability to say, hey, it's a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
So right now, a couple things. The most important thing with next week's matchup, again, we're making the assumption it's Southern Columbia. It's always possible that it's North Penn, but odds are it's going to be Southern. So you're looking at that. The most important thing is to get that win and have the ability to continue your season beyond the second week of playoffs. But it also sets up a matchup for what would be the 900th win in program history.
Yeah. So big game all around next week for the Red Tornadoes.
So basically what I'm telling you is we're going to try to make our way out of here, is that wherever next week is, whether it's at Catawissa or whether it's right here at the Silver Bowl, make sure you've got a line into this game.
Yeah.
Come to the game, watch us, check it out, because you're not going to want to miss it. It's going to be high drama. Sports is the best reality TV we've got out there.
It is.
So make sure you're there. We're going to go ahead and check out. So, again, the Red Tornadoes win tonight 43-21 to keep their season alive. I'm Jim Lesko.
And I'm Dan Lesko.
And for Jose Gonzalo, this has been a WKMC TV broadcast sponsored by Tower of Pizza, in which the Red Tornadoes are victorious. That's $8.99 in program history, looking for 900 and a continued season next week. So stay with us, find a way to make your way to the game, and as always, go Big Red.